Okay, guys, we're live. We're live. We're live. Doing it live. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Shoo yeah, brother man. Shoo yeah.
Hell yeah.
Shoo yeah. All right, so I'm gonna put the link on my second account for the video so that Cherry and everyone else who is not going to be partaking in the stream, they can watch the link on YouTube, so they can, they can say whatever they have to say there, and everyone else, oh, you already did it. Okay, nice.
Okay.
All right, so
Yo,
that's
yeah.
there. It's on YouTube. It's also there. I'm reposting it, so just in case people get the wrong one, well, now it's there. Kevin, why are you still on Discord? I don't know why you're still on a Discord call there.
I'll fix that.
Yeah.
Fuck off, Kevin.
All right, so what I was gonna say. Yeah, but the topic today is about Hotep ideology and truthers' ignorance and black hypermasculinity. And yeah, we're going there with this one. So
We're going there.
we're going there. So one of the things that really grinds my gears about hi Hiru, I'm so glad you're here to view this. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is how the Hotep ideology, what it is about being a real like definitive man for like the community that they stand up for. Like I just don't get it how you can be pro this and pro that, but at the same time degrade the same people in the community who doesn't like follow your needs and wants of what you desire in the community. If you get what I mean. Like
Yeah.
I just don't fucking get that.
The only Hotep I know is Egyptians.
Well, that's where they base the belief from the Egyptians. Like they use like pseudo
And the
African,
Israelites.
yeah, and the Hebrew Israel. We'll get into that one. But they use the Hebrew Israelites kind of, they use ancient African and ancient Arabic pseudo analogies, and then use that.
I mean, aren't Hoteps and the Black Hebrew Israelites don't they basically go hand in hand? Let's be fucking realistic here.
In a lot of ways, but the difference that a Hebrew Israelite follows a pseudo-Judaic kind of mindset, while the Hoteps follow a Pan-African mindset. So the difference is that one is going towards like this Arabic or Hebrew kind of descent, and the other one is going towards African descent, and that's the difference. But they both have like pretty much the same kind of like views on people and more particularly women. So that's like the difference. Yeah, I just want to put that out there.
They're both basically like well, they're both basically like cults. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they're cults, and they're cults based off of what they do is that they use, in particular, they use black people's oppression and the racial discriminatory kind of life that black people live, and they use that as a negative is to recruit other black people into their beliefs. And what they do is that they prey on black people's ignorance in the community itself, which is misogynism, homophobia, interracial dating. Like they're big. They don't like that at all. Huh?
Seasons like Christmas and all that stuff.
Well, those would
Holiday
be
seasons.
those would be for the Hebrew Israelites. So they're very skeptical when it comes down to that. They prefer the ideology of this kind of all black inclusive, but it's very misogynoir. It's more so leading towards like a black male dominance kind of thing. Like women can't be part of like the hierarchy or leadership. They have to be the partner in crime. They have to be the Bonnie. I mean, they have to be the Clyde, not the Bonnie. Bonnie was the leader, Clyde was the follower. So that's where it's at when it comes
Basically
to
Luigi versus Mario.
Yeah, well, except not even that, because even Luigi has some power. They didn't want women to have power in their group. They just want them to be the lackey or the sidekick, and not sidekick in any sort of like way to boost himself up, but more follow the leader, and that's it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a fucked up. Um, it's just it's becoming more inclusive when there's racism, and then there's, because there's actual injustice that goes on. But then on top of that, then you have the people who use that kind of injustice to try to promote a hate group, and that to me is where we get into the truther's ignorance, because that right there is where I draw the line when it comes down to that. Like, I don't mind people, forming a group because they feel like they have been treated, unfairly. I don't mind that. But when you start to literally put yourself on like, if you go into a private group, that's fine. You're entitled to that. But when you start going on a public domain and start spewing out bullshit and talking about, and black women out there who's swirling, who's dating white man, and who's wearing fake hair, and those fags out there who's being abominative towards the Most High and stuff like that. That's where I have a big issue with, because then you start doing that on a public display, especially outside.
So what do you think is the root cause of them having extreme like far right ideologies
Well, they definitely base their belief on two things: the Bible and Christianity versions of the ones that they have studied in their version of the Bible, and looking at I would say studying some form of African history, and then they just merge the two together, and they form their pseudoism for what they believe in when it comes to their own version of what they see in life and people. I would say that.
Let's be honest. They're basically a black version of Westboro Baptist Church.
Exactamundo, por favor. Yeah. Hatch that on fleek. Yeah.
But the main thing that makes that makes them a much bigger thing is the fact that they use black people's oppression in order to target vulnerable individuals.
Exactly.
And whereas Westboro Baptist Church, they don't have that. All they have is just people's fucking stupid beliefs.
Yeah, exactly. But imagine that plus using the oppression, and that would be what the Hotep ideology is.
Well, yeah,
because
I was comparing the differences.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm including the difference with it. But also, it's funny because in their form of version of what Hotep is, Hotep means love. So,
How
ironic is that, right? And what exactly is love when it comes down to it? If you're treating other people with less equality, discriminating on other people, and just basically being somewhat like a racist. Like, how are you're incorporating love like that? Like, I don't get it.
Well,
Because
love probably only applies to their own people.
Exactly.
It's basically like tribalism all over again.
Exactly. And it's more so of, if you don't have this ethnic background, you're not straight, you're not a man. Don't expect any power in our group. Don't expect any inclusiveness in our group. Okay, we'll let you in, but we won't promote you.
But why do you think they hold on to such outdated ideologies?
I don't know, and this is why I would like your guys' opinion, because I would like to know.
Okay. Well, do you think that in more oppressed groups, like, this is in general, there's not just like Hoteps and Hebrew Israelites and all that. This is more like a general thing. Do you think in not so well off and more oppressed communities, they try to hold on to what little power structures they actually have. So that's why they never truly progress,
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Definitely.
and that's why they hold on to such far right traditionalist ideology.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a combination of American chattel slavery plus American Jim Crow. And all of that is just like taking in what power they may want to have in society. And so they use that for their own sort of gaining. Like that's the intent. That's what they want.
That's why a lot of civil wars start in really poor countries as well,
You're right. I haven't thought about that.
because they're all trying to fight. They're all trying to fight over what little they actually have.
Right. Wow. I haven't really thought about that. See, this is a perfect opportunity to reflect. See, I'm learning as I grow. So yeah, I think it's also the it's kind of sad when you think about it, because it's like they're trying to differ themselves from their oppressors, but they wind up indirectly emulating their oppressors in that way. So it's like when you try to different yourself from them, you also indirectly become them, because you would want their kind of inclusiveness, you want their kind of power, and that's exactly what was going on with them. So they're just promoting far right ideology, including like it's like white nationalism except on a black face.
It's like a power structure inside. Well, it's like a power structure at the bottom of the pyramid.
Exactly.
Like it's basically like they want to be the king of at least their little anthill they have.
It's fucked up to say, but that's the truth. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
But when I used to listen to like a lot of people, they keep talking about a black Jesus, black God.
Because like, okay, we'll get into that. That will get into the truth or ignorance part of the discussion. Cherry Boo Boo says, but why do why do you have to have power or feel power?
Because
Good
they felt
question.
powerless. Because they felt powerless their whole lives, and that's their only way to get away from that feeling of powerlessness.
Yeah, it's more so, and this is where it gets to a hypermasculinity, because they want to prove their quote unquote manhood in society, because they feel emasculated in that way. Like they feel like because they were black men being berated in society, they feel like they need to prove themselves, and this is their way of proving their own power structure. They crave power. They're power obsessed people because of insecurities, heavy injustice, and not with them, but like with their grandparents or great grandparents. Because it's not really them that's facing. Let's just be fucking real here, okay? It's not them that's facing the discrimination, okay? It's not really them. They haven't, unless you're like 60 something or 70 something years old. Half of these fucking people are in their 30s, okay? Let's just be clear here. They were born in the 80s. So they're not going to really face that kind of level of discrimination unless by cops or by job markets or stuff like that. But the real discrimination comes from people who are born in the 1950s or 1960s era, and those kinds of people are the ones that they tell their sons or their grandsons about what they have been through, and then the grandson decides to emulate what like their grandparents have been through. And so they emulate that for their own selves and say, well, since they're going through that and I face little discrimination outside, I'm going to correlate that to my own. And once I correlate that, now I can put myself in this post-slavery victimhood mentality. And thus, that is where they feel compelled to try to gain some power in structure, and by forming this
in
group.
more oppressed communities as well. In more oppressed communities as well, they're obviously afraid of getting kicked out of what little community they actually have. So
Right.
so that's why you see a lot of hypermasculinity and homophobia, etc.,
Right. Right.
and a really tight
And the
grip on
degrading of women,
traditionalist.
misogynoir.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, because the whole idea, and it's so funny you mentioned homophobia because they have no problem with black lesbians. I'm just put it clear here, especially the dyke or the butchy ones. No offense. They have no issues or qualms when it comes to lesbianism. Especially, let me tell you why they have no qualms with lesbianism. I mean, you pretty much know the answer, but this is the reason why, because anything that is emulating masculinity or getting their penises erect is why they have no problem with that, especially when it promotes black male heterosexism. And that's basically,
that's literally the
yeah,
only that's literally the main reason
yeah,
why they have no problems with lesbians, because well they get their dicks up.
exactly. And what emulates masculinity? So as you can see, not all lesbians are butch. Let me just say this.
It's
Not
the same.
every,
It's the same reason.
yeah.
It's the same reason as to why Jewish females were used as sex objects during the Holocaust,
Exactly. For guess what?
or why black women were used as sex objects during the slave trade.
for power and for personal gain,
Dehumanization.
dehumanization. Yeah, it's
Oh,
like,
by the way, Sherry said, "But care for or help those who has less than you, or those who can't do for themselves." Yeah,
I know I put it up there.
it's just a it's just a shame that it's just a shame that not everybody thinks that way, because then that's what results in a lack of in lack of care and lack of community, and also ends up getting people kicked out of their own community, what little community they actually have. See, that's what that's why you see a lot of progressive white people, because they're in a much larger, less oppressed community. So they don't give a fuck to break out of their own social barriers.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Look at you. Like you see, you would not get see these kind of comments, like these kind of responses. They think that white people don't understand, and that's why I have to tell them, no, guys, you're wrong. They do freaking understand, and they understand everything. They're not ignorant towards anything you have to say. So you need to start like opening your ears and letting go of your shield wall, and let yourself get open to criticism. I
Yeah,
don't get these.
the vast majority,
I don't get these people either, Cherry.
the vast majority of people these days would agree with us. It's just a very vocal minority.
Yeah, very vocal minorities, right? Kevin, you got anything to say about this?
So I'm just saying as well. I was going to say about a Christian standpoint as well. Power doesn't really gonna help you anywhere. Because I
Eh,
believe in positivity.
But see, here's the thing: from a Christian standpoint, they're using Christianity to justify their means because, as you know, you read the Old Testament. You know that Yahweh was a god of power and a god of destruction too, as what some people of the Hotep ideology and the Truther ideology believes in.
In the
Do you?
Westboro Baptist Church,
Yeah, well, yeah, we're truthers.
KKK.
Out there.
Exactly. So, do you think that you said that they should not like crave power, but do you think that it's somewhat of biblical that they would because the Old Testament God was like that?
That was the Old Testament. But this is when you go to the New Testament. Jesus was the Messiah. He had the power, but he prayed it for his God, God Himself, until He died for us.
But do you think that because of them reading the Old Testament, because the Old Testament is what they really they don't, let's just be honest, they don't really give a shit about the New Testament, because they think the New Testament has been entirely contrived by Greek alteration, because the New Testament is from Greek interpretation, and it's been reinterpreted through Romans and through European sort of, like, because it's Hebrew and then it's European. So the New Testament's mainly Greek. What's the word I'm looking for? It's usually Greek inputting towards it, and while the Old Testament is like Hebrew Arabic. So the Hoteps, they really don't give a shit about the New Testament. They really care about the Old Testament, because that's like the book that they're like, yes, these chapters, oh, these scriptures, oh, yes, I love this God. Those kind of, and that kind of what that God. Let's just be clear. The God of the Old Testament had did some pretty fuck shit. I'm just going to be very honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, really some real fuck shit. Like, I would look at the devil and I'd be like, why is Satan evil?
Well, I'm still learning the Old Testament myself, even this day.
It's hard. Like, you can love the New Testament because the New Testament is like the complete opposite, because the New Testament actually promotes love. It actually promotes hope for humanity, and it starts from Jesus, and then
I believe in hope. I believe in that.
And I do believe in faith and fate and hope. I believe in hope to influence me through an outer means. So beyond my reach, that's where hope will come in. Is hope guaranteed? Of course not. But it's always blissful for me to believe in something that I know that it may or may not be guaranteed, but if some good shit happens to me, then I know that, listen, although I kept my hope strong, it just happened the way it did. And I'm grateful for that. That's the kind of hope that I go for. It's not guaranteed, but it gives me an optimistic outlook for the future.
Me personally, I'm not really too much of an optimist. I'm more of a realist.
I knew you were going to say that. You
Like,
and Dark Master are just like that. Yeah.
Yeah. If something happens, it just happens. Like, people often ask me, do you see half a glass full or half a glass empty? And I'm just like, I just see half a glass.
Yeah, I don't know why people keep saying that. Half a glass full, half a glass empty. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's basically saying, it's basically either saying, like, half a glass full. You're basically saying, oh, thanks for giving me some water. I really needed that. Whereas half a glass empty is more like, you fucking cheap bastard. You could have at least filled it up.
Ah, okay, I get you.
See?
There's a difference, yeah. One is gratitude, the other one is just shortchanging.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pessimism versus optimism.
Ah, okay, yeah. My father's a little bit of a pessimist. He counts it as a realist, but I see it more as pessimism, because it's always the negative option being the first option. And then if something positive happens in counter to that, it's like, oh, well, there it happens. Okay.
Yeah, see, I'm more of a, now that is so realist.
Yeah, Chad, I'm like, but yeah, that's a good way. I actually approve on that. I improve on that catchphrase, the way it's used there. But
I couldn't resist. You know me.
I know, and that's why we're all here for. We're all here for laughs and also serious discussion as well. Dragon. If Dragon was here, Dragon would probably give his outlook, because Dragon also can relate to this, because he can. Yeah, because Dragon knows about this.
I've had some similar discussions with Dragon in the past.
About this, yeah, because Dragon can give you a whole list of his experiences when it comes down to this kind of topic. But getting back to it, yeah, so it's more so of them feeling like they should have some sort of power over other people. Like they should feel like, because they're conjugated.
Creating your own pyramid while being at the bottom of the pyramid.
Exactly.
Like on a TV movie, With great power comes great responsibility.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Marvel.
depends on how you use the power, especially knowledge.
But see, that's what they don't have. Like they have knowledge of, but the knowledge that they use, it's for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You know.
I was just laughing at how blunt you were. Their knowledge is what they don't have.
It's like
It's
they,
true, but yeah.
it's like they don't really have true knowledge. They have a pseudo knowledge, kind of like
Pseudo knowledge, yeah.
yeah. It's like a half-ass knowledge, or it's like partial truths, and then it's complete falsehood with
Lukewarm
that.
knowledm.
Lukewarm, yeah, like a lukewarm Christian.
Yeah, look at me, look at me.
Look at me, I'm lukewarm.
I claim to have knowledge, even though it turns out I'm actually a lukewarm. Die, burn in hell where you belong.
Retards. You know, so that's the kind of I'm sorry. That's the kind of
You need to apologize,
people.
mate.
That's the kind of people, because we're deviating. But that's the kind of, or religion. Yeah, that's just what it is. Cherry says, and it can be related to in everything, not just color or religion, but relationships. Yes. Because they treat their female companions like crap. Most of the time, they're very abusive verbally. If not verbally, they call their women bitches. Like, get the fuck out of my way, you fucking slut. Don't fucking tell me what to do, you fucking cunt. You know that they talk to their women like that, and I'm like, what the?
We've
fuck?
seen that firsthand.
Like what the hell is wrong with you? Like, that is your part. Like, how can you talk to your own? I don't understand how you can talk to your own mate like that.
Because
I go to
well,
a shop.
because they feel like they're supposed to be the ones in charge of that relationship.
And that's what gets me. It's like they treat their partner like slaves.
Like
Woman,
I said again, yeah.
why you didn't make my dinner? Why you didn't cook my food? Oh, I don't like this shit. Make it better. Oh, you gonna fucking eat this shit? I'm not gonna eat this. Fucking throw this shit in the garbage. You fucking ugly bitch. Go make me something. You know, that's how they talk. And I hear that. I hear it.
Like I said, they try to create a pyramid, just so they can be at the top of one pyramid because they know that in the pyramid they're actually at the bottom.
And that's fucking crazy. It's like, then what is the purpose of your group? For love? And you say it's Hotep? You say it's love? It's love in African Pan-Africanism, it's love.
Respect to each other.
Like, that's just. Go ahead, Kevin. What are you saying?
I was gonna say that's not even a part of the 10 Commandments either. Love thy neighbor.
And exactly. And what better neighbor than is your?
Yeah.
That's just crazy for me. That's just crazy. It's so fucking unbelievable that people would literally do something like that.
If you call yourself a Christian, believing all that stuff with women.
But here's the thing, though. Remember what ZTB said. They don't really follow the they don't really follow the New Testament, and the 10 Commandments were in the New Testament, I believe, weren't they?
No, it was in the Old Testament.
Oh, okay. Well, then the Old Testament seems to contradict itself because like there's a lot of fucking murder in that testament.
I'm gonna call it a spade, and that's what it is. Like honestly, the Old Testament God, I don't see how the devil is really that evil in comparison. I really don't. And the New Testament,
and that's why
is
Satanism
different.
Exists.
And but see, when you get into deep historical knowledge, you get into the whole Anunnaki situation in the Sumerians, and then it starts to become very clear on who are these beings. Because I believe that they exist, but I don't believe they exist in the way how the Bible describes it. We can make this another topic, by the way. That would be a religion topic, which I haven't did yet, and I would love to do, but I think I'm gonna hit home, and I'm gonna hit home to people's hearts once I do that. But it gets into extraterrestrial influences, because these beings are extraterrestrial, whether you like it or not. Whether they're not from here. They're from somewhere else, different world, different location, different region, not part of this world. So if they're influenced here, then they're definitely extraterrestrial like. And if we were created to be chattel slaves, then what greater master to teach us this than the person who created us? You see what I mean? But that's how human primitiveness comes into play when it comes to slavery, in my personal opinion. And that's where we get to learn those kind of aspects from. Because after constantly reading the Old Testament, I just be like, how am I supposed to love this being? It's like loving an abusive parent. It's hard. It's hard.
Some people feel like they have to.
But that's Stockholm Syndrome. And that's fucking bullshit with my intelligence. It's like, I don't... Like, if you're going to kill me. But don't abuse me. Just kill me. Okay? Just end it, okay? Since you don't like me, since I'm speaking out my mind, just fucking kill me.
Yep.
Okay? If you want to abuse me when I'm dead, fine. But you can't really do that because I'm dead. I won't feel nothing. But you want to make me to be alive so I can feel torture. So you want me to feel it. You want me to feel pain constantly because I speak my mind. And that's some fucking bullshit. And that's part of the truth or ignorance topic. When truthers decide to make their statements, and they said that if you don't agree with their ideology, that you're going to feel internal torment and torture and pain and just a whole bunch of other sick shit. And it's almost like they get off at that.
That's
So,
why I don't believe in it. That's why I don't agree in all that shit.
huh, Kevin? Increase your mic.
I don't agree in all of that. Well, the truth is anyway, part of perspective.
And why is that?
Because it's got all killing and torturing. I don't like it. Like Jesus was tortured nearly before he died.
And why do you think these truthers love to enjoy seeing people tortured if they're trying to expose the truth? Like, aren't they really exposing themselves when they do shit like that?
Yes.
But here's the thing. If they're quote-unquote skeptical of everything that's around them, and they want to help people, because the whole idea of exposing the truth is for the public, the vast majority, to see and to open their minds to whatever that's being censored. So they clearly care about humanity in some aspect. But why do you think they'll go through such ends meet, like such hateful, primitive kind of negative outlook if you don't agree to their opinions? Kevin.
Well, I don't agree to their opinions on that matter.
But why do you think they would go to that hateful vitriol, that consistency of bashing you because you don't believe in what they believe in, so you're gonna burn in hell for all eternity?
Maybe they believe they want to go. Maybe they're trying to be like Jesus, trying to be like them, to have power, as you said earlier. I don't know what they're thinking, you see, so I'm just assuming.
Right. But why do you think they like to use religion? Like why in particular? Why do you think they like to use Christianity, for example?
I think they like to use it. I think they like to use it as an attempt to control people and intimidate them. They rely on intimidation as a form of, well, recruitment, indoctrination.
I think it's just for show, just showing what they can do, but they like. Oh,
They never show it.
No, it's like a mirage. You can't really see it, but they're trying
Illusion.
to show. Yeah.
So it's like an
So an
illusionary
illusion of
power.
power. Wow,
Yeah.
we said that at
Illusionary
the same
power.
time.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
CTB. Yeah.
This is a wooden desk. Yeah, it's illusionary power. It's what they believe in their minds to have, so they use it for their own beneficial sense of retribution, and that's their retribution there. So if you don't believe in what they believe in, it's like, well, the Most High is going to get you. He's going to torture your ass for all eternity.
What do they actually get out of their fucking preaching? What do they think that they like what do they think they get out of it by by telling people you're gonna go to hell like okay, but why are you trying to convert me? Why are you trying to convert me? If I go to hell, what the fuck does that have to do with you? ZTV?
I think it's more so. Hold on. Cherry says or control. There. That's better.
I don't get that better.
Oh, I think they mean they're trying to prove that they are better
by doing that as such.
Yeah. I think what
that's what they think. They think they are better, but they're not.
Yeah, she meant that.
Like, I'm gonna show you this clip real quick, and I'm gonna let you know exactly what I mean. So hold on, let me show you this. Let me share my screen. Application window, upper tab. Yeah, share audio. Okay. Yes. Share. You guys can hear it, but I'm gonna play it anyway. Let me go to cam and mic settings. Okay. Okay, can you guys hear it? Or see it, at least?
I can see it.
Okay.
Can't hear any audio yet. Oh, no.
Can you hear it? Okay. Just listen to this.
Okay, so y'all set me up.
Go ahead. All right, Dr. My name is Diane, resident here in Kansas City, and I am one of those ugly black feminists that you are not a fan of. So I appreciate you coming here to Kansas City, and I figure if I'm going to have something to say, I'm going to say it to your face. So I do appreciate you addressing my concerns regarding anti-LGBT rhetoric and anti-feminist rhetoric. So I appreciate you saying that up front. So my question is, the exact definition of hate speech is speech that offends, threatens, insults groups based on race, color, religion, natural origin, sexual orientation, disability, or other traits. That is the definition of hate speech. We can say all day long that we don't hate a particular type of person, but I want to know, how is that rhetoric any different than white folks that say that black people are thugs, are mentally not together, that we are unintelligent? How is it possible? How is that not different as a black man saying that black feminists are ugly, saying that queer people are, you said it earlier, I can see you on tape. How is that different than saying that gay people are molested, that we are pedophiles? How is that any different than white people? He has said that online, and I have the video. Yes, you have. No, you did say that online.
I was accused and derided, as some of you guys know, because of my position on sexual confusion in the African American community. And I understand we may have a few visitors tonight, and I don't mind, okay, of that community. And so I think it's important that I clarify my perspective on black homosexuality and lesbianism so that we're all crystal clear on where I stand. Yes, it is true, I do not support it. Yes, it is true, I do not condone it. But it is absolutely false if anyone says that Dr. Umar Johnson hates any of my brothers and sisters who practice a traditional lifestyle, a non-traditional form of marriage.
Right, so my question is, how is this anti-woman, anti-gay rhetoric any different than white folks who say that black people are dumb, that we're thugs? Homophobia is hate speech, and anti-womanness is hate speech.
Okay. May I respond?
You can.
All right. Now, first, we got to take the emotionalism out of it. We won't be able to dialogue. Okay? I'm going to respond, but for the sake of time, I'm going to answer everybody's question. And if you like, when I'm done, me and you can have a private, respectful conversation. Okay? Now, okay, well, let me do this one. I'm going to go through, then we can come back to it if you want to have that conversation. Number one, and because I got ADHD, I didn't remember everything, but I think I can get to most of the highlights of what you said. First, you said homophobia.
Yes. Oh, you're going to tell me that it's a mental illness from an outdated DSM-3 that was abolished in 1973? Don't try it.
That's like history.
This is not the DSM-5.
DSM-5?
This is the DSM-5.
Oh, then we're mentally ill. Go ahead. Go ahead. I just want to hear you answer the question.
And I'm going to be respectful to you, okay? I didn't pick this up to talk about the fact that homosexuality was a mental illness in this book until 1974. But since you brought it up, I'll start with that. If you read the American Psychiatric Association position paper on the removal of homosexuality from this book,
And he's going to clutch onto that same straw, even though it's just been fucking debunked.
Exactly.
It clearly says that we did not change this classification because we had sufficient evidence to prove that people were born this way. So one of the questions that got to be dealt with from the Eurocentric...
Oh shit! What up? What up?
With this issue in, why was
Hey,
it removed?
Dragon!
Now,
you fake
having
friend.
said that, I picked
Hey,
up the
what's
book
up? What you
to
guys
ask you
watching?
On what page?
The topic is about Hotep ideology,
It's not a mental illness.
truthers ignorance, and black hypermasculinity.
Homophobia as
All
a
right, I
disease.
came just in
This is the
time.
authority of mental
Oh yes, you
illness.
did.
Where is the diagnosis?
Hello?
Glad I'm here.
It's not a diagnosis. It's a
No,
state
a
of
phobia.
being. It's a state
No,
of being.
phobia.
It's
A
a state of being.
phobia. A phobia
Okay.
is in this book.
Okay, so hate speech
And a
against gay
phobia,
people.
let me,
Okay.
phobia is fear. Simple phobia, any type of claustrophobia, it's a fear.
So he thinks that homophobia is being afraid to confront a gay person, but it's not the same as not being accepting of it.
I've been asked by homosexuals and lesbians to have conversations with them on their radio shows. I normally accept the invitation for respectful dialogue. I don't run from the opportunity if it's going to be respectful. Now, I stand by my position as a psychologist, as an educator, as a therapist for normally 20 years. And in 95% of the cases of gay and lesbians I personally know and met and worked with, most of them were victims of sexual abuse as children. I'm speaking not what some white person wrote in some research study. I'm telling you what I know. Amongst black folk, it is a pathology born of childhood sexual victimization. Denial is at the root of all mental illness. It's easy to
Oh, and
say,
they don't
I was
fucking.
born
Oh, and they
like
don't
this,
fucking.
so I don't have to
They
deal
don't
with the
fucking
pain
use sexual
that
abuse
triggered
to try and convert people from gay to straight and convert. them to-
Exactly.
I never said
Hold
that
on.
because you are gay, you want to prey on children sexually. Now, do you have a strong case of homosexuals and lesbians?
So is
who
this
prey
guy
on
saying
children?
that
Look at the Roman Catholic Church.
pedophilia
We don't
and
have to
homosexual
debate
might be
whether or
linked?
not
Mutually
those
exclusive.
who are sexually confused. Who
Actually, no,
also
mutually
pervert children.
exclusive means
But
it can
am I
only be
gonna
one or the
wholesale
other.
indict the whole population?
It's like
Because
he
you're
thinks
gay,
he-
you wanna molest
correlating.
children? I've never
He's
said that.
correlating, yeah,
I've never
exactly.
said that, and I never will say that.
It's more
I'm
so of
very
him thinking
responsible
that
with my
because
words. Now,
you are
feel
gay,
compelled
lesbian,
to come in
bisexual, or
and
pansexual,
you said, how
that
is
you were possibly
they
been raped
disagree with
as a
homosexuality?
child.
How is that any
Wait,
different?
And that's that. The raping aspect, the raping act, is what made you that. versus you naturally being that.
Hey, something tells me that he's
That
projecting.
could be proven.
Well, we're dealing with the Hotep.
being lesbian.
Yeah, this is the kind of person that Arthur follows. By the way, that's why I wanted to put it up.
One of the highest suicide rates in America.
Imagine Arthur was like this.
These are the kinds of people he follows. That's why I put it up there.
Emotional, my queen.
What about before he was even born? What about before he was even born?
Thank you, sir. Thank
Well,
you.
okay, what about 100 years ago, 200 years ago?
What about it?
There's no argument.
I'm asking you, I mean, but you said him.
Exactly.
So what about what was going on before he was born?
He inherited it and he decided to continue the
How?
conversation.
My queen, stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. It is a political fact for anyone with common sense. It is a political fact for anyone with common sense. Dr. King was assassinated in 1968. Black Panther Party was destabilized in 1972. Homosexuality became normal in 1974. It is a political fact that homosexuality was declassified as an illness, so it could be used to take over the black civil rights struggle.
And that right there is what I mean. That's exactly, and that right there is exactly what I mean. That is exactly what I mean. It's the fact that he's using the ignorance and the labeling and just the discriminatory beliefs to try to promote this pseudo African black people kind of just far right bigotry, and they use black people's ignorance to formulate that. Like, that's the kind of shit that they fucking do, and that shit pisses me off. Because now it's like a heavy abundance of it. It's a heavy abundance of it.
So basically, a lot of people got influenced by it because of that.
Well, they naturally had these kind of beliefs because I'm going to be honest with you. The average household in the African American community is predominantly Christian. And if it's not Christian, then it's Catholic. But it's definitely not an ancient African kind of belief system. And first of all, just for the record here, Africans were practicing homosexuality for thousands of fucking years. Do your research. They've been practicing homosexuality. In fact, they even had gay kings and gay queens for about thousands of years, going near 10,000s of years in Africa.
Funny? What's funny? Even if you
So catch that on Fleek. You know how Africans gain homophobia? They gain it through the Crusades, when the imperialism and where Christianity was forcibly indoctrinated. That's how they gained the aspect of homophobia or heterosexism or heteronormativity. But before that, it was free. And racism was not a thing. Tribalism was, but racism wasn't.
Yep.
You know what's funny? Even if you did present it as facts, they were trying to say that, oh, that's outdated now.
But yet they're using their beliefs on gay people, like from when it was instituted as a mental illness, as being not outdated.
They fucking say it's outdated.
They will say it. I know
And then having this negative perception on white people that white people constantly assume that black people are just ignorant thugs or belligerent individuals who are just looking for trouble. Those hood niggas are looking for trouble.
Shit.
Like, that's some fucking bullshit right there.
Like, seriously.
Like, seriously.
By the way, can we address those? Can we address those stereotypes?
Oh, hell yeah, that's what we're here for.
So do you think do you think the fact that a lot of people stereotype all those hood thugs? Do you think people stereotype them as aggressive? But do you think because they've had some bad encounters with them, but at the same time though, they have to kind of be that way because they need to because they feel the need to show that they're not going to let people push them around because they've been pushed around for decades.
Yeah, it's a form of trying to prove themselves worthy in society, and so those people they form. Unfortunately, these are the reasons why they grow up, and it's mostly from people from impoverished neighborhoods, like, for example, growing up in the hood or growing up in the inner city, they feel that because that's all they have been introduced to, that's all what they need to make it in society. And that's why, they would be into that kind of lifestyle or into that kind of just pushing that narrative in it. That's why they would feel like that is the only way out, because it's the only way for my sanity and safety in life is just to be, just be like that. You get what I mean? So it's like that. It's like they despise anything that has to do with academia or any sort of. It's not the fact that they're ignorant towards it, but it's more so they don't want to allude to it or lead to it because they think that they're going to be discriminated and treated like shit in society. So they said, let me just be a hood thug or whatever, and then just try to go like that. It's like that.
And a lot of people will a lot of people will often bring up these stereotypes, but do they have a question? Do they have a question why they're stereotypes in the first place?
Well, I think they do question it, but they don't want to hear the answer.
Okay.
What is your answer?
Me or Jack?
ZTV.
Well, my answer is that the reason why they have these stereotypes, and the reason why stereotypes are created, because it's based on actual reality. So the reality of the fact is that yes, there is a lot of, especially if you live in America and you're part of the city, if you're in a town or a city and there's a high predominant act of crimes and stuff like that, then yeah, there's going to be a perpetuation of stereotypes, and this is where it affects me personally, because wherever I go, I get discriminated firsthand because of it. Because other people do horrible shit and it reflects bad on me. But it's the same thing vice versa. Because when they think every white person's a racist or every white person is this and that, because they're, it all goes back to perpetuation and what other people exhibit to create that stereotype.
And this stereotype ain't going away anytime soon.
It's not going away because neither one is going to see to it. And that's the fuck shit part about it.
Why don't they want to question why the stereotype is a thing?
Because then
hear the answer.
Oh, Kevin just deported. Because I think it's more so of they don't want to acknowledge and they don't want to showcase, because then it's going to hit home.
So they don't want to hear the truth.
It's not really more so
because it
that
makes them uncomfortable.
Well, it's not just that only, because then it defeats their narrative. Because then exactly, because they're trying to promote a message, and so if they do that, then it defeats their narrative.
But would it be better to change their perspective?
They don't want to change their perspective because then it negates their narrative. And they have to promote that narrative. They have to get that narrative across. That fear projection.
So they're trying to create a false image and turn to reality?
Exactly.
Wow,
exactly.
That's not even living at all. That's lying.
And that's the power of stereotypes. That's what stereotypes is all about.
That's just lying to yourself.
Catch that on fleek. Yeah, it is. It is.
Put that on fleet.
Let's not go there.
No, it's with the T. Put that on fleet.
Put that on fleet.
Yeah, that's how Arthur says it.
Big lips and all. So yeah.
By the way, speaking of which, CTB, why do you always spell period with a T?
That's how the K-Doos spell it.
Yeah. Kevin says, "I'm sorry, I'm just annoyed with video and homophobic. I don't agree with people discriminate them." Yeah, Kevin, that's the whole reason I wanted to show you it. Because this is the kind of people that these truthers look up to. These Hotep people, that man that you just saw, that's Umar Johnson. That's the man that these Hoteps look up to. That's their leader of their Pan-African movement. That's why I wanted to show you it.
And he has a lot of followers.
He has a lot of followers.
He's actually been given a fucking stage to speak on.
He's not only given a stage, he's spoken in universities. They've invited this guy. Shit, they invited this guy in my fucking college. And I was like, what the I mean, oh, by the way, I graduated college, by the way. Whoop, whoop, I'm getting my bachelor's. Yeah, I'm getting my bachelor's.
What course did you take?
Business administration and business management. But I took an elective for African studies. And I had to fucking go to the auditorium to listen to this fucking asshole speak.
Oh, he actually spoke in your university.
He was going to. I didn't went that day.
Oh.
I willfully said no. I said I'm not doing it. I said I'm not doing it. I said I'll take the 0. I'm not doing it. I don't want to listen to him because I'm gonna get so fucking annoyed that I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna say something that's gonna really get him going because he has a nasty personality and a temper, by the way. Or I'm just gonna walk out of there. So I took my 0 for that subject, not for the class, cause I passed the class with like an 80, even though I got a 0 for that portion of the assignment. But I didn't want to listen to that guy speak and listen to what he had to say.
Do you have to do homework on him?
Yeah, it was a project.
Oh hell no.
So I said, fuck it, let me get the 0. Because I'm not listening to what he has to say. I'm not. He can kiss my natural born black ass, brown ass.
And if you do that homework about him, it just
I wouldn't be able to because once I sit in that auditorium, I would be so irritated by what I'm listening to that I would just blank it out completely, or I would just curse him out.
He's saying a lot of bullshit.
And that's the kind of shit that he came, because he's the leader of like these pseudo African kind of, and the only reason why I knew about him was because of my professor because we had to take an elective. We had to take an elective course. So I took 2 electives. I took Spanish history, which is part of the world cultures course, and then African history. So I passed both of those. For Spanish history, I got 100. For African history, I got an 80. And the reason why is because I didn't fucking want to listen to that guy speak. So I don't care. I don't give a shite.
You know what you should have done? You should have gone.
Period, Kevin. Catch that on fleek.
You should have gone to his little speech anyway, but you should have had earphones in.
No, but then it would just be like it wouldn't make a difference because I still would have gotten the 0.
Oh.
Because I had to basically listen to what he has to say and tell my perspective on it.
Ugh.
And that shit is not right.
Yes,
that shit is not right. And what credentials that he has to say? Like, he doesn't have any respect for people. He doesn't have any respect for the people who just want to just exist and want to stay away from being discriminated on.
So is he like encouraging those people to not do what they try to do, or at least that's what he's trying to do? His message.
Exactly.
Wow. Let me guess. Is he a closeted homosexual himself?
He actually, well, according to rumors of what I was digging up, because I look for them receipts, it looks like he probably was involved with a relationship with a transgendered person, according to what I found out. But you didn't hear this from me. But that's according to what I've heard. So, but usually people who are that adamant, and the fact that he believes that the LGBTQ people are just people who have been raped in the past, and that's and the raping aspect is what makes them LGBTQ, not the development aspect, but them being raped is his justification for his narrative. So he assumes that the only reason why you're gay or lesbian or bi is simply because you've been raped in the past or someone had raped you.
Have you?
Hell fucking no, I wasn't raped.
See, he's stupid for making that assumption.
He'd probably just claim that that's an anecdote, though.
Unless he's saying that to make himself feel better. Because who knows, it might happen to him.
And most people who follow that are usually people who have closeted beliefs themselves because they have the insecurity about themselves, and they want to project that to the audience, or they want to project that to a group of people. So that's why they believe something like that.
Why do Hoteps think that progression is not good?
Define progression.
You.
What aspect about myself that you would find to be progressive?
Hold on. Let me think about that. There's a lot of good core reasons why. It's because, like, I'm trying to go for the more of a gray things about you. You're very open-minded. You do listen. You're honest about what you say, even if it's harsh, because the truth is harsh. But at the same time, you don't try to bring people down because they think differently from you. You're not trying to convince people. You just speak your mind. But when you do speak your mind, you're already credible. You want to make sure that you know what you're talking about instead of like speaking out your ass. So I'll say progression as in.
I mean, realistically speaking, I see what you're saying, but realistically speaking, you can say Umar Johnson was doing that because he was speaking the truth. He thought he was speaking the right, And when that young woman called him out on his bullshit, and I was rooting for her, by the way.
And he was still dying on that same hill even after it had been cut down.
And then he took out that blue book. I know what that blue book is. That's the same 1950s laws that says why black people and gay people can't have any rights.
Exactly. That was the hill that he was dying on, which had already been cut down.
No, I feel you, Kevin. Because I feel the same way. It takes a lot. Like, it took me about 3 years for me to actually, not get angry.
From that?
Yeah, not get angry,
Well,
now if I ever see that man, if I ever like encounter him, I actually will debate him with facts. Facts are facts.
You should go to one of his public speakings.
Honestly, and then he's in some hot shit right now because it turns out. No, let me tell you why. Because it turns out that so many dumb, ignorant people donated nearly $1 million to this man to build a school for young black boys, because it's just for young black boys. So that should be suspect as it is enough. And he took all the money and used it for his own personal benefit and not to even build a school. So he stole all of the donation money that those people that followed him used. He took all of it and used it for his own gain.
So did he bought a private plane or something?
He went to Japan, party like a rock star, used all the money to make himself gain more weight. And he basically took the money that was supposed to be for his alleged school and used it for himself.
Does he still have any supporters?
So he ate a lot.
Huh?
So he ate a lot.
He ate a lot. He was living La Vida Loca.
And he still fucking has supporters even after.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He lost a lot. But let me tell you the only reason, and this is what fucking pisses me off. The only reason why he lost his supporters was because of the money issue. It wasn't because of the stuff that was coming out of his mouth. It wasn't because of the beliefs that he had about people. It was simply because of the fact that he used black people's money in order for him for his own benefit. So he basically conned black people out of their money. And that's the only reason why he lost followers. Not because of what he was saying, but because of the fact that he took the money and used it for the wrong purposes.
So basically, even though he scammed them, people still believe he's telling the truth.
Exactly.
Well, I guess that doesn't do much other than losing his supporters.
Exactly.
But it's a start.
Exactly. Let me show you. Let me.
But
Huh?
you can't regain those supporters back, right?
Can I blame them?
No, can't he regain them back or get more back?
No, because he can get more with his ideology, but he's already exposed. Like the people are the same people who was capping for him already exposed him for stealing people's money.
Jeez.
But that's the only reason why they would unfollow him, because of that.
But he still pulled out that blue book after that young woman was calling him out, and she basically already cut his hill down before he even got on it, and he still went
to pull it out for what, to prove that she's just a victim of rape because she's a lesbian, a lesbian feminist. Get the fuck out of here! You know, it's just.
But it's not even that. It's the fact that he was dying on a hill that had already been dismantled.
Well, he's like dismantled, like fully. Like, it's not even a joke. But like, he still tried to push ends meet because he wants an agenda to go through, and that agenda is an anti. It's like this hyper-masculine, heteronormative, male-dominated narrative that he wants to have in his belief system, and that's what it is.
Now that is so real.
Now that is the truth. Catch that on Fleek. Let me show you this one. This one is more positive, so I think Kevin may enjoy this one.
If he's still on, hey Kevin, are you still on? Give me a sign.
He's watching.
He's in the chat.
He's watching. Okay. Can you guys?
Hey, this is what Kevin said. Kevin said that he would never lose the support in what he believes.
The Brilliant Idiots. I think I've heard of these guys.
Can you guys hear it? You guys heard it? The music in the beginning.
I heard the music.
Okay, good. That's all I want to hear.
It literally went.
By the way, Dr. Umar, I'll eat you alive.
What did I say? Did I say I want him to come on here? I absolutely want him to come on here.
White people who like abuse.
I would love it. I would love it. I would love it. Bring it on, baby. I asked you to bring him on here.
This Dr. Umar. Listen.
Oh my God! Did I actually debate with him live?
But you can't get a
business loan. They did.
He's talking to black people.
The education is going to cost me $100,000. The car is going to be about $70,000. The house is going to be $250,000. Why do you approve that, but you don't approve the business loan, which is probably for half the amount? Because if I finance your empowerment, that disrupts my system of extermination and genocide. You cannot kill a people who you are financially empowering. So we are kept without access to wealth. That's why the hood is full of mom and pop stores. That's why the hood is full of struggling businesses, because America has a policy where you do not empower black people for their own benefit. Any other minority? Yes. Why? Because if they get out of hand, they can be sent home. The black man cannot be sent home. Slavery is older than America. America was born on July 4th, 1776. Slavery in the colonies began on August the 20th, 1619. You can get a student loan.
What you think, Chris?
I disagree with it a lot, actually. I actually have a little bit of experience with that.
Can I just respond to one thing, and then because I want to show you. Okay, first of all, it just. I really get upset at these types of people because they just take advantage of people that aren't intelligent, and they speak well, and they take advantage of fear. They take advantage of anger. Right? There are black people that go through racism every single fucking day, and they feel angry about it, as they should. Right? And they feel just wronged by society, and they need a rationale for those feelings. And this guy comes in. And he goes, "Oh, I got you.
Exactly.
I'm gonna make money off of your anger. I'm going to make money off of your fear. And I'm going to give you the perfect solution. I'm going to give you a nice big bad guy for you to believe in. That's the cause of all your problems. And I'm going to tell you some real sexy shit. And I'm going to bring out the DSM-4 psychology Bible and tell you why it justifies all my bullshit, bigoted ass opinions. So when it comes to this loan shit right here, when it comes to this loan shit you're talking about here, how is it that you could get a loan for a house, but you can't get a loan for a small business? Well, guess what doesn't go down in value as much as a small business? A house. If you have a house and you can't pay the bills, the bank can then take that house and sell it to somebody else? Can they take Nobody Beats the Wiz and sell Nobody Beats the Wiz when that's out of business? Can they take
the property?
Can they take? But you don't own the property when you have a small business. You own the business.
Don't own your house either.
Yes, you absolutely do own your house. You own your house, and if you don't pay the bills, the bank owns it. But what does the bank do with Nobody Beats the Wiz when they don't own the actual brick and mortar that they're on? They don't own the property. You understand the difference between a business and property? Because if not, we can't have this discussion.
No, I don't, clearly.
Okay, so business, right, is Charlemagne the God Enterprises.
Oh, yeah, I know that. But
are you sure?
But if you own a business, like as far as like leasing a building, renting a building, which most people get the loans for, to get the building. Most of the time, you need startup money.
That's not true. I grew up in a small business, and that's not true.
That's most of the time when I'm trying to start up a business.
Startup money is more than the $2,000 a month that you have to spend in rent.
What do you think, Chris?
I think you're talking to someone who grew up in a small business. I understand these loans.
My father had a small seafood market in Mount South Carolina.
Okay, so let's ask him about what the cost was.
But I mean, I think he's right about systematic economic oppression, but I think he's using an incorrect example in my understanding, because my father's actually an attorney, and he took a class about minority small business loans. Mm-hmm. And when he came out of that class, he told me, he's like, yo, you need to let all your friends who are minorities, women, know that there is actually money out there that the government has to give to people.
Oh, yeah, it's allocated. Like that's what they do with farmers, especially now with the black farmers.
They gotta get, so to say that like they're trying not to give you that money is, I think, as I understand it, inaccurate, because the money's already allocated. So, and the loan's coming in at like 0.0001% interest. Like it's essentially free money.
There's another thing. But is it banks or is it? Because usually it's small business.
Like literally in the cab this morning, I took a cab this morning, and the guy who's African American, who's in charge of small business loans in New York City, they have like those things running in the cab. They have offices. You can go. I knew a guy who worked in the office. You can go, and I can only talk about New York City, but like there is a small business minority loan office in New York City where you can go and you can apply, and essentially if you meet the criteria,
Chris.
Oh yeah, my wife's a grant writer. I know. Yeah.
So your wife's a grant. So free money that is specific.
Grants are hard to get to.
Doesn't matter. They exist. They exist. So there are free money that you can get specifically if you're black, or other people of color can also get them, but there are more for black people specifically. So this is free money. This is small business grants, which you don't have to pay back. This is
you sound like Dr. Umar.
No, I mean you can't just walk.
You can say that. You can say that. But that's the logic.
But the difference is I can Google these grants.
Why do you want people to believe you, but not Dr. Umar?
I can Google these grants. You can't Google the information to back up what Dr. Umar says.
I did Google information. I told
you did not. You already told me when I got on the phone with you. I don't disagree. You said I disagree with that one thing about sending back the other minorities.
Yes, and I said when it came to the small business loans, yes, you can get grants, but I don't know about from the banks. You can when you get small business loans. These aren't banks that are giving you small business loans.
That is true. That is true.
They have companies. Look, you know how I know that? Because I have businesses.
But he's insinuating the money's not out there, and I really think the money, like Wax, should absolutely be able to get.
We have.
Yeah. Like
Barack Obama allocated $1.2 billion.
Barack
black
Obama,
farmers.
that guy who hasn't done anything for black people, according to Dr. Umar Johnson. That Barack Obama.
Hey.
Oh, what about that $1.2 billion? Oh, I guess he just forgot about that.
Farmers.
Or maybe it doesn't fit his fucking agenda, which is give you a justification, give you that heroin you need because you feel shitty. I'm gonna give you a justification for your shitty feelings.
Exactly.
He just didn't know.
It's his job to know.
Not really.
That's his fucking job.
We don't know everything. So why don't you come in here with more facts then?
Because I ain't Dr.
You know what
Andrew
I tell
Schultz.
Every day, read. Because this motherfucker will get up here and do exactly what Dr. Umar is doing.
Now you're just trying to discredit me and say, no, this is what you do. You try and discredit me. No, it's a very clever strategic.
I'm trying to
strategic move. No. You're trying to discredit me from talking about this person that you and I have already had a conversation about. He said specifically in this thing, what's the difference between giving people of other minorities in America loans and giving black people loans? Is America doesn't want to profit the black man's rise in economic power. Not profit. They won't want to support it. They will do it for people, other minorities, because they could send those other minorities back to their country. How?
Listen.
How could you do that?
I don't agree with that either.
You can't send a Chinese kid that was born here back to China.
I don't agree with that. But you know the reason.
It's not even about agree or not. It's wrong.
I think it's wrong. But you know the reason I didn't dispute that is because I didn't know. Simple as that.
How could you not know? This is Mr. Constitution.
Wow.
He doesn't know the fact that if you're born here, you can't get sent back to China.
Hey,
China's going to look at him and go, we don't want that American.
It's two things I want to make a point about. The difference between me and you is
I'm not talk about this issue, because now we're talking about us. Let's talk about this issue.
The difference between me and you is I'm not afraid to say I don't know. And if I don't know, you know what I do? I shut the fuck up and listen.
Sure.
And then I go research, so the next time I'm more prepared. That's number one. Number two, the reason I tell you it's okay to say, yo, you don't agree with Dr. Umar, but to say things like he gets up and he just runs his mouth and he wants people to believe in him, that's what we all do.
Yeah, I didn't say any of those things.
That's what you just said.
No, I didn't. I said he preys off people's anger and he profits off that.
You said you want people to believe in him, and you said
I never said I want people to believe him.
You said he wants people to believe in him.
Of course he wants them so he can profit off of them. Yes.
Okay.
I honestly.
So what are we doing every day?
What do you mean, what are we doing every day?
What are we doing every day? This is what we do, Show.
We're giving our opinions.
This is what we do. The same exact thing.
Actually, we do other things.
But this is what we do.
This is not primary income. This is not primary income for us.
The same thing Dr. Umar does. People listen to this podcast. People listen to the radio. People hear your stand-up. They watch us on social media, and they think the same exact thing. I'm never going to discredit anyone for having free speech, for saying what they feel. Ever.
Oh, actually, I disagree completely, because what we do every week on this is talk about people who have free speech and are using it to possibly manipulate people to do the wrong way. The exact
what's your favorite thing to say,
the exact same thing that we
what's
do
your
to
favorite thing
Donald
to say?
Trump. When we're doing it to Donald Trump, and we say Donald Trump is using his free speech to fucking hurt people and promote hate, all of a sudden I'm a good guy for saying that, right? Everybody supports that. We absolutely
Donald has the
when
right to say
when we
it.
shit on people who say all lives matter on this very podcast, all of a sudden we're good for saying that. We're pointing out the inequalities in the world. But when we shit on Dr. Umar Johnson, it's whoa. We do this every week. We go out here and express our ideas. Why don't you just let people express their ideas?
This is why I keep telling you, your opinion will never hold no weight until you are more committed to your own opinion.
What am I not committed to?
You get on this podcast and say verbatim, even if I don't agree with you, I will fight for your right to say it. You say that. That's you. Verbatim.
Who said, when did I say he can't say it?
Oh my God, man.
You have to understand the difference between disagreeing, which is something I believe vehemently in.
I just told you. I said you should be able to disagree with somebody, but don't discredit them.
Of course you discredit the people you disagree with. Absolutely. If you believe somebody is promoting something that will hurt people.
You discredit their point. You discredit a point or two, but don't discredit their whole narrative because you don't know.
What if you don't believe in their whole narrative? I've discredited Trump's whole narrative. You have no problem with that, but you're defending Umar.
Let me ask you a question. Did you watch the whole hour of Dr. Umar interview?
I didn't watch the whole hour, but I watched
the whole conclusion.
Exactly, and that's what Schultz is trying to say.
What's your assumption? I watched several videos on YouTube about him.
What else did you watch?
I watched a video of him confronting a gay, lesbian.
This is where I want you to hear it.
He hates gay people. I don't agree with him on that either.
Well, I'm glad you're supporting him and putting him on your Instagram.
Listen, I support anybody. I'll interview Donald Trump. That's what I keep trying to tell you.
There's a difference between interviewing somebody and promoting their rhetoric, and you promote this guy's rhetoric.
No, I was promoting a Breakfast Club interview because right after that, I put the A$AP Rocky interview out. Literally seconds later, I was promoting all the new interviews we had up on our website. So.
You have. I don't want to say bragged, but you have said. When we had the interview with Joe last week, he was like, "I'm the guy that's putting Dr. Umar Johnson on the Breakfast Club. Nobody's giving him a platform. I'm giving him a platform."
And
so you are proudly giving this guy, this homophobic dude, a platform.
You want to put it in context, or you just want to try to prove your point?
That's what you said.
The reason I told Joe that because Joe's rhetoric was Charlemagne is a puppet. If Charlemagne was a puppet, why would I take people like that, politically incorrect people, and put them on the radio? People who say things like the white man is the devil, or they don't agree with being gay or anything. Why would I put them on the air if I was a puppet? Same way I would take a gay man and let him get on there. I could put D-Ray on it. This is the thing about people in general. Anybody with a real opinion or anybody who says things that people don't agree with, people are going to disagree. I could take a nice, sweet gay man like D-Ray. Put him on the radio. D-Ray can talk about Black Lives Matter and why we should be protesting, and somebody will be like, why you got that gay dude on the radio?
Sure.
He pushing the gay agenda, and he ain't really the leader of the Black Lives Matter movement. Everybody's gonna have something to say about somebody.
So here's the
Listen, I would love to interview a real white supremacist. I would love.
You're talking about your interest in interviewing somebody. I'm talking about supporting rhetoric, and these are two different things. For me,
so you telling me when Donahue would have the Farrakhan, Phil Donahue would go from having Farrakhan on to the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Is he supporting their rhetoric?
No. We're talking about two very different things.
How?
We're talking about two very different things. Do you not support some of what Dr. Umar Johnson says?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's not get away from that. It's not like I'm just interviewing this interesting guy. Don't fall behind the I'm the radio guy thing where I interview interesting people. You support some of the shit this guy says.
So what? Some.
Exactly.
And so what?
Exactly. So
you know you can do that in life, right? You know in life
absolutely,
you can be
Charlamagne.
You know in
absolutely.
life. You know in life you can totally disagree with one person's point, but then agree with another point, right?
But you know what I like to do. What this is the difference between you and I. One of the things that I like to do is when I support someone, they have to have sound logic. You go and support someone.
He does have sound logic in certain situations.
Show me the sound logic in that clip that you promoted on Instagram.
Once again.
Show me the sound logic.
Once again, 150-second clip. I specifically said.
So why don't you choose another 50-second
in certain situations?
Why don't you choose another 50-second clip to promote that you agreed with?
That's the clip that the Breakfast Club fucking cut out and sent and blasted out. So I reposted on my motherfucking Instagram page to promote the interview.
That's the difference between me and you.
If you want more, you go watch the interview. And let me ask you this question.
I wouldn't do that.
Time out. Let me ask you this question.
Because I would worry that it would affect people's mentality, and I would worry that it could possibly change the way they think, and I would take responsibility of myself as an influencer, and I wouldn't want to promote those values and put those values out there so that there's some young kid that's walking around the hood and thinking
there was no values.
There weren't values.
No, that was. You know what that was?
You and I disagree on that.
You know what that was? Yeah.
And see, that's all you need to hear. That's all you need to hear.
Who's that guy who's ranting?
I'm actually really liking that Schultz guy.
Yeah, the guy who is getting at Charlamagne is Schultz.
Who's Schultz?
Andrew Schultz. Yeah, he works at the Breakfast Club, their radio talk show. That was him.
So who's the other guy who was ranting in that?
Okay, so the black guy is Charlamagne. Or
Yeah.
Charlamagne the God. You might see him from MTV. MTV, if you watch MTV, you'll notice him. And then Schultz is his coworker that works with him on the talk show, on the radio talk show. And they were talking about Dr. Umar Johnson. So Schultz does not like him at all, and he thinks he is very toxic towards black people and to everyone who's listening to that, because he sympathizes for the people who actually follows through the bigotry and through the hatred, and he wants to really help other people to get their, to not listen to people who promote a hateful rhetoric. And he was getting at Charlamagne for basically agreeing to some of the stuff that Umar was agreeing with.
Yeah, somebody can say one thing, and you might agree with them, but that doesn't mean you should. That doesn't mean that should affect your opinion of them in any way. I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Ah! Got shot on fleek. So yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to show you about that, because I figure, well, why not talk about something that literally is the counter argument towards what Umar was saying?
Yeah.
And these are the kinds of people that these truthers support, these Hotep supports.
Well, what if this is what they truly support and they don't care?
But that's the reality of the fact.
Yeah. See, Kevin was saying. Kevin was there saying, everyone has freedom of speech, but that doesn't mean we have to listen. Yeah, not only that, but it also means that everyone else has freedom of speech. So if you're exercising yours, we could exercise ours as well, and we could call you the fuck out.
Pretty much that.
As long as you have your sources, you're good.
Yeah.
But it's not really sources. What Schultz was trying to say is that even though you have your sources and you have your information, your rhetoric and the stuff that's coming out of your mouth is detrimental to society. It's hurting other people. It's causing mass discrimination amongst a group of minorities. That's what you're doing.
And they don't care about that?
And they don't care, and that's what Schultz was saying.
Like how Umar say, like, oh, they're trying, the gay people are trying to take over the
Yeah.
minority place.
And they use the whole aspect of, oh, the gay agenda this, the gay agenda that.
What about the black agenda?
They don't see it as a black agenda. They think it's a white agenda. They think the gay agenda and the white agenda for them is basically, they believe that white people are trying to take over the world and they're trying to take over black people and stuff. So, yeah. All right, Kevin. That's what they believe in. And that's the shit that Umar was preaching out.
Yeah, I might get going now too.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice
So
right there. Might take advantage of that 1 hour's exercise we can do.
yeah, it's a good topic that we can actually actually speak on. I'm just flabbergasted at just the level of bigotry that came out of that man's mouth, and not Schultz obviously, but
See ya, Kev.
Umar. Yeah.
Are you actually gonna be talking about much more, or?
I would actually love for a Hotep that we know to show up.
Well, he's not credible because he usually just copies what other people say.
But I would love to hear his perspective on this. Since
But he never. When we actually respond, he never really gives any real counter.
But yet he promotes and preach the same hateful bigotry shit.
That's the thing. He only copies.
He does, but yeah, he only promotes, but he never actually responds.
But that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. So
But then
that's why we can't really have him on a debate.
Because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
We wouldn't get anything from it because we wouldn't really get anything from it because the guy just doesn't actually debate. He just throws his points. And then tries to go like when we completely dismiss him.
And that's exactly what Umar was doing.
So Umar doesn't like it when people dismiss him.
Yes.
And he's trying to make another comeback with another blue book.
Exactly.
So that's just in case he gets screwed, right?
Yeah. Triggered.
So that's his get out jail free card.
Yes.
Does it work?
No.
No. Not for the logical person, but for the ignorant and belligerent person, it will work.
So does he expect everyone to be just like him?
He expects people.
Or he's hoping.
He uses people's ignorance and bigotry, and then he profits and monopolizes on that, and he takes advantage of other people because of that.
All right. Anyways, I'm gonna get going now. I've pretty much
See you later,
said everything
Jackie
I've
boy.
had to say.
All right, Jack. Watch the remainder after.
I will do. I'll keep this time code in mind. 126.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
Catch you on Fleek.
Later. All right,
And that's that. Yeah.
And we can continue the topic even more further. Let's go to the root of the problem. Let's talk about
Let's
that
go.
more often.
Let's go there. That's why we're here.
Well, the root of the problem is we learned from you, like you said, that the Africans during the old times before, the Western influence,
Mhm.
they practiced all that stuff that we discussed, homosexuality,
Mhm.
tribalism, but never racism.
Mhm.
It's never sexist either, because everyone was treated equally.
Yeah, if you go back thousands, if you look at the history books of West African, like the Bantu tribe, for example, there was a matriarchal society where it was just females ruling over men, and the men even had male wives, if that makes sense. They used to call them male wives, but it was their term for what they see as homosexuality back then in the thousands of years ago. But they had female rulers in their tribe. Yeah. So what he's saying is complete bullshit.
What if the things that you said, I don't want to assume anything, but is it possible someone read this information and didn't like what they read, and they
Oh,
decided
hell
to-
yeah.
and they decide to create this false macho image, so it doesn't define who they were in the past, because to them it's considered degrading because of our society, because we molded the image of a man, and the man in the society has to live with so much high standards that it kind of killed that self-esteem by reading the truth, right? Like how it was back then.
Yeah, it's more so of they have this mindset where they feel like other people who are ruling, like in the past, for example, like a female or maybe a gay man or a gay woman. They knew about that, but it's they selectively pick and copy which narrative that they want, and then that's the history that they believe in, and they censor anything that deviates from that.
That's funny. When you censor something, that's just gonna come back anyways.
Oh yeah, the truth is never hidden. It's always out there. It's never censored.
That's the thing though. What's the point of censoring truth when it gets out anyways?
Because as long as the population doesn't believe in it, then that's the only thing that matters.
So okay. I'm about to talk about something else, but I'll say that for another video.
What are you gonna say?
The so-called Mandela effect.
Oh, we're gonna save that for another video.
Yeah, I caught myself too.
You're gonna save that for another video.
Okay, this is about the root.
Yeah.
What causes this bigotry and homophobia? So
and hypermasculinity. Yeah.
So basically, it's possible that someone else has looked up their history because they're interested and they didn't like what they read, so they trying to like what change up the image.
Possibly, that could be definitely possible.
Basically saying like, oh, that was us back then, but right now we're different.
Possible, but I think it's more so of they want to promote, like I said, they want to promote a false sense of history, and they have an ideology, and they want to use their historical findings as evidence for modern day society. So they're basically correlating something that happened in the past and put it to present day and use it as their sense of superiority. That's what they're doing.
So the root of homophobia, did it root it from the Western influence?
Oh, definitely from Western influences and mainly through the Crusades.
Hey, I noticed something. The Western influence, it changed the world big time.
Big time. Yeah, it did.
So in a way, you could say that Umar kind of said that the white men started this whole thing in his perspective.
Well, what he did was he's using past influences like unfortunate situations where a group of people actually did promote an ideology, but he's using it as an excuse to justify the means to promote his bigotry. Because, for example, if you say the white man did this and the white man did that, and you didn't like what they did, but yet you're using that as an excuse to promote that, then what does that make you? Two wrongs don't make it right. Exactly. So if you talk about,
instead of like focusing on a solution, he just focused on the problem.
Exactly, and monopolizes on that.
Oh damn! So basically, no progression.
No progression at all.
Well, damn, bro. So
exactly.
So okay. Now let's go back to the root, the true root of homophobia, the westernization of it. Why did it come from them?
I think it comes from, and it actually goes back further, because it's not just through the Crusades, it's also through Arabic influence, especially through the Middle East. Because you got to understand, the Judeo-Christianic mindset comes from their forms of teachings, because a lot of it was practiced, because they practiced the behavior, but the behavior was kept in secret. So that's why they wanted to do that. And they use religion to oppress anybody who publicly displays it, which is why homosexuality, lesbianism was secreted, because it was against their religious beliefs.
But
Yet they practice it a lot.
It's low key,
like
right?
like a taboo kind of thing. When in certain African tribes, it was very open in public, and they didn't give a shit about what other people, had to say.
I want to ask though, how come both their mentalities were different back then?
Religion and influences and spirituality.
Makes sense.
Different gods, different belief systems, different tribes and rules
In
that
your
they follow.
opinion, what is more practical?
What do you mean by that? What is more practical? Like, what do you mean?
Practical as in useful. Something that actually works. Something that you can really apply to your life to better yourself.
To gain common sense and to gain proper knowledge of things, and know what is detrimental, what is not detrimental. Know what is universally beneficial to human society versus what is detrimental and hateful and hurtful to society. What causes progression, what doesn't causes progression. What causes elevation, what doesn't cause elevation. You don't have to have an egalitarian mindset to believe everyone is equal, because no, I don't believe everybody's equal. I don't believe a rapist is equal to a normal person who's not a rapist. So of course I'm not going to believe in every form of egalitarianism. But I do believe as humans we should do what's beneficial to society and not what's hurting or causing a stagnant of when it comes to humanity, rules, regulations, and lifestyles, and just trying to just be a decent citizen in society.
And as for the shit, I forgot what I say. Okay, you were talking about how. Wait, yes, now I remember. It's still. What I sometimes feel like they're trying to elevate one group of people and deviate the other. So they can bring themselves up while they bring other down. Is that what they're trying to do too?
Yeah, because they have to have it's the bully mentality. So they have to kick a person down to elevate themselves up. They have to also do this while it's portraying themselves by the victim mentality. So we're victims because we're black people, but we're gonna take another group of people like the LGBT or females and we're gonna
minority.
Yeah, and then we're gonna push them under the bus. We're gonna make them feel like shit. Well, it's putting ourselves up, but at the same time, we're gonna try to convince you that we're the victims and that we should be feeling sorry for us. Granted, let me just say this: black people as us, and I'm gonna say this including myself. We know the history and we know what we go through every day, and it's a guarantee that we face this every day. But see, as we should be the ones that should be promoting an idea of progression, because we know how it feels in American society to be rejected, to have our rights taken away, to have everything taken away, and to build it over.
And me being Asian, I understand what they're going through.
Exactly.
But though, despite being Asian and experiencing the same thing black people have experienced, at the same time I feel like we had it much worse because we Asians, we're more passive and we don't like to act out on feelings that much.
Right. Because you guys are afraid of the scrutiny that comes from it.
And sometimes they take advantage of that. And most of the time, that's why most of the time these Asian guys, we're forced to fight. In fact, when we're born, we have to learn how to fight because shit like this is going to happen. Then again, the same thing goes for all of us as a human. We're all born to live. At the same time, we live to fight just so we can live.
Exactly. So we can make it to the next day. So we can protect the people that we love.
And some people don't have to do it. Some people have to, but not all the time. And there's these group of people where they have to do it like 24/7. And it gets tiring sometimes. But at the same time, it develops some kind of character at the same time.
Well, it helps you become more of a fighter in society, and a person who learns to grow from hatefulness and oppression, and it helps you to become more a vigilant fighter in society, if you get what I mean. So I think that's where you're coming from. Like, everyone has to go through that. Everyone learns how to fight, how to verbally defend themselves, how to physically defend themselves against other people who may take advantage of you. Yeah, I mean, that's a given. That's part of us living and surviving to the next day. So we got to protect us, and we also got to protect the people we love. And I think in that field, when you mentioned Asian discrimination, I definitely feel like you guys are another vocal minority that doesn't get enough attention. Oh, Dragon deported. I'll wait for Dragon to come back. Well, in case Dragon doesn't come back, because I think he deported because his internet connection, I'm going to say this. So I think it's more so of us trying to, like, we're not being open to other people's form of discrimination, and we need to be more open towards that. And so if Dragon is not going to come back, I'm going to say it. So I think is the pick me kind of mentality that I think that we're facing here. So on that note, if Dragon is not gonna come back, I'm gonna end the stream. And I want you guys to say what you have to say in the comment section. I thank you guys so much for staying tuned and being here and listening to this wonderful heated discussion with 2 videos, and with us stating our minds and perspective on this. And for any Hoteps truthers or men who feel like they must showcase their opinion, or women who agree to this, state your responses in the comment section, of course, and I'll be glad to hear it. Oh, Dragon is here. You had the internet problems, right?
Sorry about that. Oh, I was talking to myself. I was talking to myself for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was doing that right now.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're still here.
Yeah, I was gonna end it like as soon as you didn't show up, I was gonna end it yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're still here. So
yeah,
I might have to summarize what I said before.
Yeah.
Like I understand about the bigoted mindset or the closed-minded, mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have that mentality because
really,
where I grew up,
mm-hmm.
I didn't have any outside knowledge other than what goes on in my house or
mm-hmm.
what I watch on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I explored it, outside and talk to other people and learn
mm-hmm.
about them, and especially listen at least or
mm-hmm.
observe them,
mm-hmm.
I learned more about them. Not as society, but back then I used to think like that. One person defines the whole group of people.
You're right.
But
like
later
the one
on,
action, yeah.
But later on, I know that this guy's different from this guy. How come he doesn't act like this guy? And then I became a little more
socially aware.
Yeah, and at the same time, I started getting stereotypical. I was like, hey, how come you don't act like this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Or how come you don't look like this guy? How come you're dark? And how come he's light?
How come you talk so proper? How come this guy doesn't talk as proper as you do?
How come? Yeah, but then soon I realized that everybody's different. But it took me a long time. I always assumed that everyone should act the same way because that's the kind of mindset I grew up with.
Right.
But at the same time, I always had that, energetic mindset. And I always have that free spirit mindset. Is I just I make friends with almost anyone, even if they're people or I don't know. That's who I was back then.
Right.
Maybe because in my household, not everyone has that mindset. They're more of a closed mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can be close to, but at least I was still open to learn about this person, even if I don't like that person. You know what I mean? And then I started to become more less assertive, but slowly until I reached my adult age, because I learned at a really slow pace because of my environment. But
Right.
every time I learn about other people, learn more about myself at the same time. And then I start questioning myself, like, what if I thought that was right was wrong? And what I thought was wrong was right. At the same time, I started to become more, what back then I used to like agree with the popular opinion, but that popular opinion can easily be false too.
Right. Exactly.
And then then slowly, I say slowly though, I start to think about what I feel or what I think. It's kind of hard too, because throughout my entire life, I'm used to agreeing with people or getting ideas from other people.
Right.
But when it comes to like my own personal thoughts, I never thought about it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people it's the same way back then, because they never thought about what they think rather than what people think.
Absolutely.
And that shit I learned can be toxic, not to yourself but to other people as well.
You can catch on to it.
But at the same time, you always had this identity crisis. You struggle with your identity, like you believe in this, but at the same time you believe in that. But is it right or is it wrong? Then you got to come to the gray area. And that's what a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to be in the gray. They bleed black and white. But I've always been a gray person, even as of today. But at least I try to be, so to speak.
I get what you mean. You never pick a side. You were always in the middle.
And that shit conflicts me too, especially if I'm in the middle between two people who I totally respect, right? Like this, I agree with this guy's views, and the other guy, I agree with their views, but there's some views that I don't agree with, and for the other person, there's some views that I don't agree with. So I'm more of a kind of guy like, okay, why don't we just meet in the middle? But some people believe that you can't be in the middle. It's either you're black or white.
And that is exactly the situation. And we can say that in both in a literal sense, too. It's either you're black or you're white. It's either you're part of you're either for the black community or you're against it. And if you're against it, then you're for others. You're not for us. But what if you're doing something that's beneficial to everyone, but at the same time it's going to benefit the community itself? So not only are you benefiting the community, but you're also benefiting everyone else around you. It's a human thing, but you're also acknowledging the struggles as well.
Yes, and the problem is that not a lot of people want that, because some people just want to be the top of the food chain. I mean, is that how it is right now? Even back then, it's the same thing. Everything's divided by class
and jealousy and animosity and pick me. I'm the one that should be chosen.
And that's funny about. That's the very core trait of a human, jealousy, envy, all the 7 deadly sins of what they religious people call it. But when I think about it, that is a negative human trait that we all can have.
Absolutely.
It's all about, for my personal opinion, I say that it's all about self-control, or it's not just self-control. It's about, thinking outside the box and trying to be more of a, not say open, more like try to see the bigger picture before you make your final decision or final thought on things. In the end, we choose to be us.
Exactly. And also learn from your own errors. Also you cannot be ignorant towards your own errors and realize that your opinion is completely valid without any scrutiny. Be open to criticism, be open towards having another opinion counteracting yours.
And I understand that it's hard at first, because I'll speak again from my perspective and experience. There are times when I think I was right, or at least I thought I was right, because I felt like I had all the knowledge and shit about this certain topic. and you expect someone, not how like Arthur, he preaches but he doesn't respond, and he doesn't expect someone to debate back, right?
Right. He
I
really
had those
doesn't.
moments. I had those moments before where someone got me on defense, right? But at the same time, at first, I'm gonna be honest, I was a bit upset, annoyed, and maybe a bit angry. Not because of what they said. It's not because what they said to me. It's because of their extensive knowledge on that certain topic. I was upset because this person knew more about me. But at the same
Exactly.
time, I have a choice to learn from it or dismiss it. But it took me a while, because I'm kind of a really stubborn person. I don't change my mind that quick unless I convince for myself. That's how you learn as a character. Sometimes, when someone gives you their 2 cents, if you feel that an uncomfortable feeling, maybe you should check it.
Right.
Because that uncomfortable feeling can really help you grow as a person. But sometimes people see that uncomfortable feeling and they use it as, insecurity or hate and anger and rage. And it's all about how you control that situation, so to speak.
I was reading actually an article about the brain patterns and about why we have these feelings of rage and anger and jealousy and animosity towards other people, and why our brain naturally reacts that way. And it's funny, we have a reptilian part of our brain, and that reptilian aspect is where we get that emotional reaction. So because of that reptilian side of our brains, because although we're mammalian, we're also part reptile as well, because we have that in our functionality. And if you look at a fetus, it looks like an amphibian. So we're related to every creature that's on this planet or on this world, if you don't believe in planets. And because you got some people who don't believe in planets. So it's this part of our brain that functions, that we can't help. And then it conflicts with our rationale because that part of our brain is uncontrollable. But when we learn how to not control it, but like promote a message that doesn't allow the reptilian brain to frolic or to function instantly when we're in the heat of debates or any sort of combating of points, then we can grow from that, and our conscious mind can overcompass the reptilian side of our brain.
But it takes a lot of practice, because
It does.
I know this for myself, because most of the time I don't like it when people know more about me. But at the same time, it's also a good thing, because
You and Arthur have something in common then.
because you need to take it to consideration, because a lot of people are just prideful. Some people don't like to be called out. Some people don't like it when people are smarter than them. But
Exactly.
that's the whole point of learning and growing, is to learn from others, to be corrected, so you know what to say next time. And that's
Okay,
all.
Cherry.
It also bye Sherry, boo boo. That's not all, but you also know more about yourself, and you mold your own image of what you want to be. But what you said is also true, and like you want to promote anything that harmful, that can harm other people. But that's when selfishness comes in play too.
Right.
Because selfishness is right in the core of ourselves, man. As humans, we are naturally selfish. We always want more. The world provides us with the things that we need, but never enough to satisfy our greed. That's what a friend said to me.
And he is so right about that.
And plus, that's also true, because we always want more than we have, because it's never enough. Same thing goes for society. It's never enough. We want more because, I don't know, because we feel like we deserve more, instead of like working for it, because when you demand more shit, you're not gonna grow as a person. You're gonna stay in that one spot because when you're constantly demanding for shit, it's going to that's all you're gonna do because you wouldn't know the value of hard work or the value of actually working for your shit instead of like asking for shit all the time or
Because you're
demanding.
spoiled. Because you're constantly used to getting things and you're not used to working for it or to grow from your own errors or flaws or to earn something. You're not used to earning things. You're used to gaining things. And this is where you become spoiled and privileged.
Yes, and that mindset, that shit stays with you. And
It does.
if it hits,
We're
and
dealing with that right now.
if you have that mindset until when you're 40, oh shit, you ain't going back. That shit stays forever, dude.
Yeah, once
So-
you're in your 30s and 40s and you still have that mindset, you're fucked. You're done. You're
But
zero. You're nothing.
but if you are 40 and you have that mindset, but at the same time you're self-aware about what you say, there's a chance that you can, go back. Change that up. But it's only if you want to.
Yeah, it's exactly. You can be self-aware of it, but are you going to make the commitment to change? That's
Yeah.
the real thing.
Yeah, I do believe that everyone is self-aware of what they do. They just choose to not
Follow.
believe that it's bad, or they believe that it's not a big deal, and no one has to know, or who cares about what other people think. That's what they say. So they want to stay in that little bubble because they're comfortable with it. Because now I talk about change requires effort, right?
It requires effort on the person and the willpower to do so.
That's not all, and laziness comes in play too. Some people are just lazy to make that change because it's hard. They don't have that willpower, or they're not hungry enough. That's what I'm saying. People, they're hungry, but they're not hungry enough to make a change in their lives. Like not how like fear leads to hate, hate leads to anger, anger leads to rage, then suffering.
Then depression, then sadness.
Yes, and it leads to all that, and you don't want to do that. If you want to reverse it, you have to well, I learned to be more humble, and I learned to accept the circumstances and accept my flaws, accept what I did wrong. And the first step to change is accepting and acknowledging your flaws. The next step is what you gonna do next. That's all on you.
And that's the big de facto here.
Yeah, what you gonna do? Always ask yourself that question. What are you going to do? Always, if you're not sure, if you're like in a position where you're in a dead end, you gotta keep asking yourself, what are you going to do to fix it? What you can do to change it? Are you gonna mope and complain and hope someone would listen and feel pity for you and possibly help you with emotional support? Or are you gonna stop self-pity stuff and actually do something about it? But at the same time, it's easier said than done. I understand. I truly understand that it's easier said than done. I know it. But sometimes it doesn't hurt to ask for help. But just don't be too dependent on that help, because that person only helped you to get up. The rest is on you. That's when you ask yourself, what are you going to do?
Well, couldn't say any better than myself. That's wow. That's fantastic.
Well, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have thought this.
Oh yeah.
I'm not the only one. Some people are just not vocal about it. They're just so prideful. They want to ask for help because, in their opinion, it makes them feel weak, or they don't want to rely on people, which is understandable. But when you hit like a point of
rock bottom,
yeah, sometimes a little help can't help, or maybe a lot of help. But it's just that you just gotta take that help and use it like it's basically Final Fantasy. Okay, let's use Final Fantasy as a freaking comparison.
We're going there.
Yes, and but at the same time, we'll go back to the original topic, which is the
Right.
LGBT. Well,
Okay.
we'll hold on to that right
No, it's
now.
actually Hotep ideology, truth or ignorance, and
Hotep.
black
Okay, I'm holding on to that Hotep
hypermasculinity. Yeah.
Okay, we'll hold on to that one. But first, we talk about Final Fantasy. You know how like, a party, right? A party always help each other no matter what.
Right.
You coordinate attacks. You tell which member to do this move. You tell them to do this. At the same time, when you see someone in danger, you automatically help them, right? When you can. But when someone's down, what do? You either fight alone or you help out. And sometimes some people are like, nowadays people are like too confident in their own abilities, you know? Like yes, you have all this shit, you have all the knowledge, but sometimes it's not always about what you know, it's also about who you know. Like if my character gets knocked out in Final Fantasy and I had low health, had to use in that person, I had to throw a Phoenix down so they can get up and help. You know, not help, but give themselves a fighting chance or give yourself a fighting chance. So basically, sometimes when you know that your abilities and your skills are not enough to handle this situation, a little help will help, but don't be dependent on it, because that help is supposed to buy you extra time. That's how I see it. But don't waste that time. Use it wisely, especially if someone like made sacrifices to help you. You damn better well use that as your advantage, because when you waste the opportunity, who knows if that person will help you again, because even that person can't help themselves. Even I know I can't help myself, so I can't help everybody. I help when I can, but when I do, I expect you to to get up back on your feet on your own. That's it. I don't want nothing back from you. What I want for you is to get back on your feet so you can live again.
And that's the whole idea. But you have to take the resources when you can, and the opportunity comes once in a lifetime. So you have to take it.
So basically, life is like a video game, but the only difference is that you're playing on the hardest difficulty.
And sometimes you only have one life left.
And the odds are against you every day.
Everywhere. Obstacles everywhere. It won't stop. It'll just keep getting harder and harder.
In the end, we're just trying to fight to live another day. So every day you fight. It's not just a physical fight, it's a mental fight. Every day, man. It's like you think that, one day, you have a really clever mindset. And tomorrow, what worse can do? That's when you get a little too comfortable. You go reverting back to your lazy mindset. Yeah, it's all about practice.
Consistency.
Practice. Yes, and I agree that you must practice to be better, but there are times when people do get unmotivated and they get lazy, and they start to lose their purpose because they just gave up because it's just too hard. Well, let me tell you this, brother, life isn't hard. well, life is hard, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be hard. You make it hard. You make it harder than it already is. So the best way is to work around it. Just like despite your limitations, you got to learn how to make use with what you have. If you don't have the resources that you need, a little help won't hurt. It's just help you get back on your feet. A little investment. You just gotta make more investment in your life. And that's just life. Everyone needs to do that. And we will always have, our demons to deal with, because that demon would never leave. Never, ever leave.
At all.
But you can not say overcome it. You can tame the demon and use him for other purposes. Like, for example, if a Hotep came to you and started lecturing about something or preaching about something that is completely irrelevant and irrational, that's when you got to release demon, but not in the most violent way. But that's when you let it all out, you know. Sometimes you can't get rid of that asshole side. It's that asshole side is important just as much as your angel side.
Exactly,
Balance.
and it's balance, and also it's confrontation. So if someone is doing something that's hurting you and hurting other people, of course, naturally you're inclined to inflict the pain and the malice to get rid of the target, because the target is causing the issue. So I don't believe in people should be silent and being passive and just allowing the person to have a platform. Yeah, they can have that platform. I can't stop you from having that platform, but I can fucking stop you from making your point. That's the difference. That's the fucking difference. And I think that's exactly the point when Charlemagne was saying, oh, you know, he should be entitled to his opinion. Nobody's talking about him being entitled to his opinion, because he's going to state his opinion whether he's entitled or not. But I'm not going to sit here and let you say what you have to say and speak that hateful bullshit and talk that talk and thinking you're going to get away with that and thinking I'm going to stay silent and be like, oh, wow, I learned something new every day. No, if something I don't agree with and it's hateful and detrimental to me, you think I'm going to really sit here and be all humble and shit about it? Fuck out of here. I'm going to be all ratchet on you, and I'm gonna tell you how wrong you are, because not only your opinion is hurtful and damaging to myself, but it's also hurtful and damaging to everyone around you who you're influencing on with that opinion and that hate.
And we all live in this mindset where, like, when you speak your mind because someone said something that offends you, they label you as being a wuss or a wimp or sensitive. But
or an SJW, that's the new term. Or a cuck.
The same people who said the same thing gets mad when you confront them, and they start getting all angry and shit. Say, oh, how dare you speak all that bullshit, man? You guys are a bunch of idiots. You better not. You guys should just not say anything and keep your thoughts to yourself and let me do all the talking. That's how I see it.
And then they expect you to be humble when they say shit like that.
But they can't do the same thing when it's reversed. So
exactly,
it goes both ways. Okay, it doesn't matter. When you say something and someone confronts you, be ready at all times.
And it's like, and then if you're triggered by that, and you're telling the other person not to be triggered by your opinion, you're being a hypocrite. You're being a freaking hypocrite with your own statements.
And if that person gets mad because of other people's opinion, what does that make them? Like a Hotep. If you call out Hotep and he gets really mad and defensive at you, does that make him sensitive?
Yes. Because it means he's not secure with his points.
And he'd be like, oh, you guys are like the most sensitive people I ever spoke about. Yet he becomes sensitive when you question his ideology or his logic, and he gets really mad, say that, oh, you shouldn't say anything because what I said is the truth and the truth only, and what you said is wrong. So basically, you had no right to speak.
But what makes your points validate to be the truth? Prove to me your truths. Prove to me why is it true. Instead of saying your truth. Your truths is an opinion. That's what an opinion is. It's your truths, your own personal truths.
So basically, he's trying to play it off as a universal truth, right?
Yeah. And that's bullshit without any receipts.
That's the thing. You said that this Umar guy takes advantage of people's ignorance, right? Specifically the
black people, just strictly black people.
So is he trying to start some kind of new world order or something?
Well, he wants to use black people's ignorance for nefarious purposes. So rather than uplifting black people, he just basically tell black people what they want to hear and then take the cuentadas out of their pockets for finance for his own selfish, nefarious reasons.
So he's all for himself.
He's all, pretty much, yeah. All for himself.
That's sad. That's sad. The shadiest people that are the ones who you trust and look up to.
Well, I don't look up to him, so he can go fuck himself.
Well, most of the time, though.
But the people, and what gets me annoyed is that the only reason why they stop following this fat fuck is simply because, and I'm sorry for if you guys get offended by what I just said. I don't care. I don't like this guy. This is no disrespect to anyone who is, plus size, but I'm just stating what it is, how I feel. But it's the only reason why people don't follow him is because, like you said, the money. The money. Not because of what he's been preaching, not because of stuff that he's been talking about. It's because they agree with the stuff he's saying. But what they don't agree with is the misuse of the money. And that is what pisses me off.
Well, is that not enough to call out his bullshit?
When it comes to their finance and their donations, that is what pisses me off. Because that is the only time they see the bullshit. Not what he was saying before and all the hate speech he was talking to before, but only when he uses his money for a shyster kind of reasons.
So by default, those people they only agree with him. That's it.
Yeah, they agree with him to a certain extent until the money aspect comes into play.
Let me guess. If he didn't do that money thing, he would have been a saint.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. More people would be following. People would, he was the starter for a lot of these anti. How can I say this? His viewpoints is what caused a division within the black community in modern day post 2000 era. And that era is what causes that whole divide of looking at blaming white people for everything, but also preying on black people's ignorance on the same thing. That's what he's doing.
Oh, what a pain.
You see?
And this is stuff you deal with every day.
Well, that's, as a black person, you also it sucks because you're fucked on both ends. You're fucked by the people who ruins it for you, like who perpetuates the stereotypes. But then again, you don't want to be, kissing ass, and you don't want to fucking be what's the word? You don't want to follow a respectability politics code. You want to just be yourself and not be scrutinized by stereotypes. But unfortunately, the good suffer for the bad. And you got people like Umar Johnson who use those stereotypes and say, see those stereotypes they say about you? They're just ignorant towards that. They're just so ignorant. You should hate the people who just don't accept you for you. And he just uses that for his own latching. That's what he does.
Manipulation,
exactly.
Is this some Jim Jones shit in a way?
Yeah, exactly. Except without the cult killing themselves and whatnot.
Yeah, the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, the Kool-Aid incident. Yeah.
But still, though, those people drink the Kool-Aid by hearing his words.
Exactly.
And money.
Exactly. So they already drank the Kool-Aid. So they're financially, their cointadas is gone.
$1 million, dude.
In total, he had for donations.
And he
did $1 million.
He did that with just speaking, and that shows you that. Wait, if he can do that, then who else can?
Exactly, and there's many others of him that is doing the same exact thing.
That's dangerous, and that's not even the tip of the iceberg.
It's not. And that's why it's so scary, because people like myself, we get rejected because it conflicts with their religious viewpoints, it conflicts with their worldviews, and thus we are being pushed to this narrative of being a denigrated group of people who just don't have any logical substance to try to make sense of the conversations that these people are having and these concerns that people are having, like the black feminist lesbian that debated against Umar, which you didn't see that part, but you'll see when you watch the video over.
Yeah, and the first 40 minutes I missed it.
Yeah, you'll see. You'll rewatch it. She's the kind of person who they would look down on because she has 3 strikes against her. She's a feminist. she's a lesbian, and she's a woman. And they view male, patriarchal, sense of an entitlement, and especially a black man. They want to put the black man on the pedestal like he's a king, so he decides to rule over his kingdom. And that's it's this pseudo twisted kind of mentality, kind of like that.
And the things that she say, they were all what stuff did she say to that guy? Nothing irrational, huh?
Not a single word. Everyone here in this call, Jack and Kevin both, and Cherry agreed with what he was saying. What she was saying was correct.
Why would anyone disagree with her? Is it because they don't know what she's talking about? Or...
No, they know what she's talking about. They just don't agree with what her presentation and who she is. Remember, she's a black, female, lesbian, feminist.
That's 4 things. So
four things. Okay, so we'll count it as 4 things.
That's so basically, the odds are against her either way, right? Even when she's speaking fire.
Exactly.
So even when she's speaking hot fire on people would not. They'll still get on her, right?
Yeah, because of those attributes. Because her opinion doesn't hold weight of soul. Like, for example, like with Schultz. Andrew Schultz is a white guy. But Schultz was speaking hot fire facts. But because Schultz is Caucasian, they would say, well, what do you know? Because I didn't play the part of the final clip of where Charlemagne was saying, what do you know as a white man? That's what he was saying towards the end. But I didn't play that part of the clip. But that's what he was saying. So those drawbacks can negate actual reasonable conversation. Because the fact that Schultz is white, he's not allowed to speak on the black community's behalf. He's not allowed to share his perspective of what he can do to help the community, or what he can do to point out the flaws and how we can improve on there and create a balance. You know, you can't just have a hive mind and figure by getting a bunch of black people together that's going to fix the problems. You need to get a full communion of all nationalities together. Speak on these kind of issues. Tell other people's perspective and learn how we can grow from that. Not just get one race of people and just put them together in a box and figure they can work each other out there. Because it's not gonna help. It's not gonna help at all.
Why are people against uniting the entire human race?
Because separation equals power. Unity equals nullification of power.
So that'll never happen, right?
As long as people crave power, it will never happen. Unity will never happen. We won't come together.
Same thing goes for racism, right? As long as
someone
still holds on to that value. But it's ain't though how I feel. I feel like racism is like by default. I'm gonna be honest. If no one like taught any of this stuff.
Hey, Scorpion Death Drop, what's going on?
Hey, Scorpion.
You missed a hell of a conversation that we had earlier, but
hey,
it was pretty lit.
I like your avatar. Is that the crow? By the way, what I'm about to say is that oh shit,
it is.
So we talk about power, right? Separation from power. Oh damn! I'm about to say something really good too, but you said something too, but it's also caught my mind.
We were talking about power. We were talking about division. We talked about how everyone can be part of a union or coming together to speak on issues. But at the same time, I mentioned that people would rather be separate because they get more power from it than to come together.
It's coming back, but you can keep talking, bro. My thoughts coming back slowly.
And then we talked about how the Hoteps won't allow white people or anyone else of a different ethnicity to speak on issues that will try to benefit the black community or any form of community, but they would reject. Yeah, you got it.
It's coming back. It's something about human, like speaking as humans instead of
speaking as tribalism or something like that.
That's the thing though. Oh yes, I remember. It's about like as long as this thing still exists, it will never go away.
Yeah, it will never go away.
Oh yes, racism.
Yeah.
Racism, the core of racism. Is it a natural process of bias?
We are naturally inclined to form some sort of separation because we have a reptilian part of our brain that shows us that's why we should discriminate. We have to learn to not exhibit those traits because they're harmful and detrimental to society.
And wait, so animals are naturally racist too, right?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say racist, but more so of they're naturally discriminatory towards other creatures. And
All right, that works.
Yeah.
So basically, discrimination shit is all part of the natural cycle. But for us humans, it's actually really bad because we are actually socialized people.
Because not only that, because we have the highest intelligence and we rule the world. So
and not to mention, we can control those.
Exactly. Animals, their consciousness is not superior towards their animalistic instinct. Their instinct is superior.
Unless,
as humans, we have a conscious mind, and we can learn and grow from our animalistic form of view, and we can actually progress and learn from our own tribalism or our primitiveness.
This is why that's why I like hearing you speak, because I'm always learning things about you, and not just about you, but from you too. And that, and the more I'm around you, my knowledge becomes to extend more.
Oh, much obliged. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and it's good to have a person like you who's so insightful, you know, and who speaks his mind, but also at the same time, know your shit too, like, because you actually back up what you say.
And not just speak my mind and know my shit, but also having my shit being beneficial to society and having society being able to hear my points and actually apply it to their own and actually see to it.
I think that's the last thing that I like about you. You are a kind-hearted person.
Well, at least I try to be.
Well, like, I know in your core, you are.
Oh yeah, I'm pure. I'm a pure being on my core. You know, I may have a asshole side to me that comes out when people start some shit with me, but that's my New York side, so you can't help that. But I'm not. That's part of my but it's part of my self-defense mechanism. I think every human, no matter how good or evil, have a self-defense mechanism that triggers whenever we are pushed to the corner of the walls. And that self-defense mechanism will come out, whether it may be through cursing, whether it may be through, making videos about the person or expose videos, like people like to do because they feel triggered. They feel like they can't have a debate with the person, so they make exposed videos about the person to silence their message and whatnot. Those kinds of things are part of our reptilian brain, where we can't take defeat, where we have to constantly bash and humiliate the person in order to feel like we have an edge on the other individual.
So basically, when you call Arthur reptilian, was that coincident or intentional?
It's actually, it goes both ways. It's not just for physicality reasons. It's also for his behavioral side too.
That was unintentional.
It was intentional and unintentional at the same time.
No, intentional was he looks like one. Unintentional, it was his behavior, right?
Well, no, I knew about the reptilian side of the brain way before.
What's that? Man, that's a coincidence part, right?
Yeah, it's a coincidence part. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the coincidence. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
The unintentional. Yeah. So you meant to call him reptilian because he looks like one, not because of his behavior. But behavior is a plus.
It's a plus to it, exactly.
So he's a reptilian inside out.
Inside out, exactly.
But we're not here to talk about Arthur. We talk about what he comes.
No, but he's part of this. He's part of this topic. He's part of this topic. This is the Hotep ideology, truthers' ignorance, and black hypermasculinity.
You know, the reason why I don't want to talk about Arthur, I thought it would deviate from the subject. But
no, he's part of the topic.
In that case, this you're gonna see me for another hour.
Well, I don't have time for that. I only have 10 minutes left, so we gotta wrap it up.
Okay, damn it. Okay, Arthur Wilson. He's interesting individual. Like a caricature and a caricature and a caricature in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can understand why he acts like that because I'm pretty sure he doesn't watch a lot of news.
Well, I'm pretty sure that he watch news that fits his own agenda and his purposes, and his truther's ignorance.
But
That's what he does.
but based on his personality, it implies that he watches a lot of anime and cartoon.
Sorry to deviate this. From Scorpion Drop said, I'm kind-hearted myself, but the second I find out I'm being used to someone else's benefit, that's where I start seeing through their BS. Exactly. That's what me and Dragon are like too. I'm a kind-hearted to the core, but if I find I'm being manipulated and being abused or being used for someone else's nefarious purposes, yeah, that's when I'm gonna be turned into a complete bitch, and that's when I'm gonna get at the person. Exactly. That's what happened with Matthew. When I found out that Matthew was using us and manipulating the situation to try to fool your fire by saying what Cherry was saying on the low, or at least on the conversation, and snapshot it to you on Facebook, he clearly knew the intent was to simply call her out, to embarrass her, and to fuel fire on both ends.
Yep. But it didn't turn out the way he wanted.
Exactly, and that's where the dumbass, the dumbass things that comes. Yeah, well, he's a dumbass, but the dumbass aspect towards that is where it backfired on him. Because rather than trying to think that he's gonna get Cherry, or he's gonna try to start a war between you and us, and because he knew we would get triggered if you say something, and he saw when I made that video, he was ready. He didn't mention about the fact that he sent that screenshot to you until you brought it up, and that's when he was silent. He was flabbergasted because he could not believe it backfired on him, and that's the difference.
Catch that on Fleek.
Catch that on motherfucking Fleek, bitch. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, and catch it on there.
Did he try to kiss ass?
Who, Matthew?
Yeah. After.
No. He was just be like, I didn't know. I was just gonna do that. I didn't know. I just did it because he was my friend. So, you see? But enough about Matthew. We're going to talk about what you were saying before, so I'll let you speak on it.
Arthur. Yeah. It implies that he watches a lot of cartoons and animated movies, so that's where he modeled himself after. That's why he acts like a cartoon character, because he modeled his personality from other fictional characters, not a cartoon character that exaggerate personalities, right?
Yeah, they're
so Arthur's natural personality is an exaggerated personality. So to him, it's natural. So you're right. That's why you question yourself. Why does he act like a cartoon character? And I felt like, he's not acting, because this is how he is.
It's his natural state.
Yeah.
And he doesn't realize how foolish he looks and sounds when he does these kind of things.
Well, he thinks these anime characters are really cool characters. More cooler. I think he thinks... Okay, cartoon characters or anime characters are more cooler than real people.
But see, that's living in Fantasyland, like what Carlos always say. You're living in Fantasyland, not reality.
Yeah.
And that's sad, because that means that you're living in this box. You're living in this fantasy box
and
that you believe,
And not to mention his natural voice expression. His natural voice sounds like a cartoon character too. Something tells me that he's been speaking in a exaggerated voice for so long that that exaggerated voice became his natural speaking voice.
I don't think that's his natural exaggerated voice. I think that's his natural. I think he always sounded like that, because he sounded like that back in 2011 when I first met Arthur. So that's how Arthur talks. That's his natural voice. That's how he sounds.
Oh damn, he sounds like a cartoon character though.
He sounds like a cartoon character. He looks like a cartoon character.
Unless
he acts like a cartoon character. It's like
he modeled himself after a cartoon character.
I wouldn't say that. I just think that's just how he is.
It's because maybe he's not happy with himself, so he copies other people.
Well, see, that's another thing. I do think that he doesn't know what to do with his career, his life. He has to copy other people's form of expression because basically he has no content to do besides copying other people's originality.
But they know his natural personality is he acts like a cartoon character, and maybe he's insecure about that.
I mean, I don't think he's insecure about him being a caricature. I think he's insecure with everything else about it. I think he's insecure with how he looks. I think he's insecure about how he speaks to people. That's why, and I think also he's insecure with his masculinity. I think he's insecure with his gender. That's why he berates women all the time. That's why he constantly makes videos. That's why those videos that he talked about exposing these truthers, exposing, what the fuck are you exposing? Are you talking about real truther conspiracy stuff like 9/11 or Pizzagate or all these other false governmental things that they're doing behind the scenes? Are you talking about that?
Well, he does talk about it, but that's only a small part of it.
But that's part of being what a truther is, to expose shit like that. Not talk about women and talk about how a woman is dressed in this way and she has an opinion and go stalking her Twitter page. For what? What are you gaining out of that? All of his videos has been calling out females. Do you know how much males that are truthers out there that say some fuck shit, and he could easily just talk about that, but he waits until a female has an opinion and then he berates the female for that?
Well, that shows you that he's not strong enough to call out a man.
That's where I say black hypermasculinity. He has fragile hypermasculinity. He has fragile masculinity.
And if you watch his other live stream, he pretty much explained it. He said women should stay silent. You say women should stay silent and not.
And why do you think he has that? Because he has a penis that he thinks he can just silence. He figure, well, because I have a penis and you have a vagina, you're not allowed to have an opinion in my book because I'm a man, and a man is supposed to do what a man's supposed to do. A man is the one who's in an authority. He's in charge of everything. And you, as a woman who has a vagina, you're not allowed to say what you have to say. Yada yada yada. That's what he's saying.
Basically, that's his idea.
That's what Umar believes too.
Yep. That's his idea of a good woman.
That's a slave. He wants a slave. He wants females. He might as well just make a video titled "All Women Should Just Be Slaves to Men."
So does this mean that
put it on that?
Slavery?
Yeah, he does. As long as there's a black man on the face of the slave master, he supports it 100%. Didn't he say that all black men are Hebrew Israelites and God chosen, and anyone who's not a black man is considered to be an Edomite, and they will be put into slavery by the Most High? Didn't he not say that?
Oh, he said it countless times, openly and proudly.
Didn't you say that if Hitler was a black man, he said he would support Hitler if Hitler was black instead of being white?
Yes.
So you see what I mean? He supports these kind of very hateful, detrimental rhetoric, but yet he doesn't want to get scrutinized for it.
And
it's exactly what Umar Johnson does.
And he claims himself to be a better person than atheists or people or his haters.
But what about atheists that he has such a negative deposition on because they're not theistic people, because they don't believe in God, or they don't believe in not the existence, but there's no existence to prove whether or not God exists, so they don't believe in it.
I'm gonna go with the stereotypical perspective.
Okay.
Basically, okay, I'm gonna think like one. Okay, I'm gonna think like like Arthur.
Okay.
He sees atheists as people who either is ignorant about the Bible, or they know about the Bible but they ignore it because they're scared, because what the Bible said, it makes people uncomfortable, and they believe that the atheists are like, they're scared and insecure about themselves, so that's why they turn away and become atheists. And they also believe that atheists assumes that God doesn't exist because of what they experience. So basically, how a Christian view an atheist is the same way how an atheist view a Christian. But the only problem is that Christians, their only source of evidence is the Bible, and I believe.
But why do you think they hold so strongly to the Bible? Why do they never question the Bible's validity? Why is it that the Bible is viewed as hierarchical canon and they can never question that book, but they can question everything else? Why is that?
From a Christian perspective, if you you grew up in a Christian household, right?
Yeah.
Well, for what I learned from how they view me, I view them as, what they learned when they were a child was the truth, because it says it in the Bible, because all the things that happens in real life, it happened in the Bible. But
how can you confirm that?
Because they say if it happened in the Bible, then it happened. Then today it's not a big problem because it already happened in the past.
But how can you prove whether or not it happened unless you rely strictly on faith?
Yes, they do rely on faith, but same time, Christians are not sure too, so they make up their own shit.
Exactly, and this is where institutionalized belief comes into play, and laws.
And but there are some Christians or deists, they're not sure, so they don't say anything. They just go by what it says, and they don't question it. They say, I don't know. Like, for example, why did Cain kill Abel? Who's that woman they killed for? Was that the sister or the mom?
Yeah, I never understood that when their wives, like did they marry their own siblings or was there other? Because based on how it's worded in the Old Testament, it looks like there were other humans besides Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, and there were other humans that coexist with them.
Hey,
but you can't. You can't argue with a Christian when it comes to that. They'll just say, "Oh yeah, he fucked his sister. They fucked their sisters."
But Christians will also, if they can't explain, they'll try to make a filler.
But see, that filler becomes problematic because then you're trying to promote a non canonical point of view based on fanon aspects towards your points.
So they basically be like, oh no, who knows? Maybe did something happen in between.
And the moment you say who knows, your point is completely invalid.
See, but here's the thing though, they question it, but at the same time, they still hold faith to it because they want to believe that it's the truth because they were led to believe that it's the truth, and if they don't believe it, they go to hell.
But see, that's faith. That's not facts. That's faith.
My faith is strong because I truly believe that I'm a follower of God. So I'm just learning this by how I observe Christians because I truly believe that this is what they believe. And some say that, it's because I had a really dark time and something just happened and I just was top my game because I prayed for it. Or they say like they pray really hard for it to the point where it become a reality. So basically, how I see it from the opposite point of view is like you said it so many times that you believed in it. It means that you motivate yourself. That's how I see it.
Scorpion Depdrop said there are a few things in the Bible that actually happened, like Noah's Ark. I watched a documentary where they found its remains in Jordans. Other than that, it's 99% fabricated. Actually, getting back to the Noah's Ark story, believe it or not, that's actually taken from the Epic of Gilgamesh by the Sumerians, which is a 10,000-year-old story, right? Now,
yes. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Let's see. According to the Bible, Noah's Ark happened 2,000 years ago. But according to the Epic of Gilgamesh, the event with Noah happened 10,000 years ago. So which is more accurate? The one that is 10,000 years or the one that's 2,000 years?
And
which is the oldest religion? Christianity or Sumerian.
Oh,
And
not
that's
to
where you get
mention,
into that.
we have historical evidence for that too.
Exactly. There is literally evidence that scientists have found of the Sumerians that that located objects like pottery, statues, carvings of humans of 10,000 years ago.
What's funny? If from a Christian perspective, they'll say, "Oh, these scientists will just try and discredit Christianity with fake stuff."
But yet you're using science to validate your belief system. So which is it? It's only beneficial for when it's for your, you know?
This is what they'll say. Oh, science is beyond God's comprehension.
Well, then what is factual then?
They'll say like, oh, you cannot disprove or prove God with science, but God is above everything else. He is basically, they assume that God is no one knows who he is, yet they seem to know about him. Is that like is that contradiction? They say that no one knows God, but they say that we don't understand him enough to know him.
Well, then, if you don't understand him enough, how can you create a religion, a institutionalized organization to teach other people of the belief of God if you don't know much about the entity?
In their defense, they'll say something like, well, we have people who are prophets who speak to God. And they recorded everything and spread the message through this person. So basically, schizophrenic.
So you're using a medium to try to gain some sort of knowledge? It's like it's indirect knowledge. It's not even direct knowledge. It's like hearsay. It's like a rumor passed through a rumor, passed through a rumor, passed through a rumor, and then that rumor comes to you and you're reciting the rumor to all these other people.
And it's also they want to define natural disasters as punishment from God because coincidence
or the end times.
Coincidence happens. Coincidence happens all the time.
There's plenty. First of all, the Earth, the planet, this world had so much fucking travesties and disasters that honestly nowadays nothing can be in comparison to the past. Earthquakes, separation of land, continental drifts, so much mass genocide has happened in this world. And the end times wasn't then, but is it now? When a coronavirus hits, everyone else think it's the end times?
They say the same thing about Ebola.
Has anyone heard of the bubonic plague, which killed millions of Europeans in Europe?
I mean, like...
Was that not the end times then?
To be honest, how I see it is, it's just a cycle.
It's a cycle being promotion. There's going to be a group of people that's going to be theistic and adamant because they hold their faith strong. And that faith leads them into portraying that and projecting that to society to follow. And this is where it becomes detrimental to law and to people and liberty, especially when it violates that, especially when it goes against that.
In their defense, they believe that, the America is going downhill and we need God in our lives because Americans have turned their back on him.
But see, that's where it just goes, nothing makes sense like that. Like, what makes your laws definitive when this country is founded on liberty, faith, and now the laws are changed now, but back then that's where it was founded on.
Wait, should I talk like a Christian boomer instead?
What do you mean by that?
Like a Christian in their 50s. Yeah, let me speak in their perspective.
Baby boomers?
Yes, a Christian boomer. Cause I deal with a lot of them. They believe, or should I say, I speak in this voice. I believe that the Bible is the truth thing, because everything else that other religions say is contradicting to what we see right now. That's what he says. Because everyone has their own thing. That's the thing about the Bible. No one knows the true interpretation, so they come up with their own interpretation. Makes it even more unreliable. And they always be like, read it in context. So basically, you want to justify this horrible act. Is that what you mean by reading in context?
Yeah, and then also not looking through it. Like it's honestly like they see these acts as justifiable or divine vengeance rather than being some fuck shit.
Yeah, they actually advocate slavery, saying that
It's
it's
like-
okay. They say like it's okay to own, beat up a slave as long as
Not
you
even that
don't
for
kill them.
women. How women are treated. Have you read the Old Testament? How women are treated? Don't you know they say it's okay to marry your rapist? That a female has no choice but to marry. Let's say, okay, if you were a female back in the Old Testament, right, and you were raped by some horny fucking nasty motherfucker that rapes you. Don't you know that you're legally entitled to forcibly marry your rapist because that rapist has taken away your virginity?
And their defense, as an boomer Christian, the laws were different back then.
And this is where Arthur gets the idea of like women should not be allowed to talk about the Bible.
Yes. It kind of gives me a headache too, but at the same time, this is reality. People do think like this. It happens before. It has happened. People wish that the Stone Age exists again. And personally, how I see it, they just want an excuse, to be assholes. Right? They just want an excuse to be assholes. They don't want to be penalized for being an asshole.
And this is exactly where we get into truthers' ignorance. They don't want to be penalized for promoting a hateful rhetoric because they want to believe everything is a conspiracy because it's suit their bigoted agenda. That's the whole idea. That's the entirety of it.
Instead of like trying to expose for the good.
Like, what are you? Yeah, exactly. What the fuck are you exposing? What are you exposing? How can you expose anything if you're promoting a hateful agenda? How can you expose that?
They just want to rise to the top.
They just want to have a say-in and they want to be the leader of something because it makes them feel superior for promoting that sense of bigotry. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we get into the hypermasculinity aspect because then they feel like they have to prove themselves to be the definitive male in the group,
So they're always vocal about everything.
Very vocal, very controlling, very belligerent, very arrogant.
I seen it.
Misogynistic about it. So yeah,
I see a lot. I see a lot of young folks acting the same way.
And it's fucking sad because you got the older generation influencing the newer generation. And then the newer generation promoting that same fucking cycle day after day, year after year, generation after generation to their kids. And then to their kids. And then to their kids.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, it's because I was taught to be this way.
And that's fucking abuse in my opinion. Catch that on Fleek.
I was taught that a man shouldn't express feelings, and a man should be taking care of business, and while a woman should stay home. Like Arthur said, it's self-explanatory.
Well, nowadays men are exposing their feelings more than females are online.
And I feel like it's done
by the same men that said they don't like to expose their feelings. They're doing it every time.
They do it through anger.
Through jealousy, through rage.
In fact, I'm pretty sure they are the most vocal about it.
They are very vocal. They are very, very vocal.
And for what I learned, a lot of females, they're more subtle about it.
Well, because a lot of females get chastised and discriminated by men. Not just by women, not just by their own gender, but also by men. Because they don't want to perpetuate a stereotype.
And this is why men have a bad reputation, right?
Well, yeah. And the same thing goes for females too. It goes on both ends. This is why we should all come together and learn how to grow and to learn from our own trivial mistakes and our own bigotry.
But it's sad too. They're gonna say like, but by nature.
And when they go there, when they say by nature, then they're going by primitive instincts, and that's their reptilian brain talking. And when their reptilian brain is talking, I don't want to hear it, because that means you're going to animalistic.
Right? So basically, when we say that, you already lose the argument.
For me, you are.
So basically, by saying that, it's nature because males are stronger.
Yeah, and or it's nature because the man is supposed to be the one that's supposed to raise the house. That's how it always been.
And they'll say that you see how lions, they'll get comparison to lions.
Yeah, they'll use that as a prime example.
So basically, they try to compare themselves to a lion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a fair comparison. The lions, they are actually pretty strong and respectful.
And lions eat their own too, just for the record.
Yes.
They're cannibals. Catch that on
And not to
foot.
mention, they're very respectful too.
Lions?
Lions respect their queens.
Yeah, they respect their queens and they respect power.
Mm-hmm.
Two things.
They don't attack unless they're hungry.
Exactly.
Or challenged.
Exactly. Or provoked.
That's a true king right there. But a king is always ready for a fight.
Well, lions are very primitive animals because their intellect is not geared towards progression within their species to dominate the world, because they're territorial in their domain. The movie The Lion King is all about that. It's about territorial domain.
Hey, you think we should learn from animals too?
We don't need to. We are animals.
I meant this nature, like they seem to use it more often than we do.
We can study and observe animals like we do all the time. We already know everything. Well, I mean, there are more species out there that we're still discovering, but we don't need to learn from animals. We can learn about animals and compare and contrast how it applies to us. But what we need to do is learn how to be a human rather than how to be another creature.
Be human?
And what is being human? Well, that's what we're doing every day, defining that. Doing laws to show how we can increase our intelligence, our well-being, our self-worth as humans.
And what would be the opposite view of that? Why would they believe the opposite?
Because they want to deviate from anything that's humane and go to tribalism or animalistic side of things in order to justify it, because they want to use the nature excuse. Oh, it's a nature. It's nature excuse. Nature also says you should eat your own, but are you going to do that? You sick fuck, you're not going to do it.
You know, humans, they can be cannibals. And once you
They can be.
And once you go there, there's no going back, because there's nothing more delicious than human meat.
Exactly. And that's the sad part about it.
That's a sad fact. There's nothing more delicious
Here's
than
a conspiracy for you. Did you know McDonald's use baby fetuses for their burgers? Didn't know that, but they do. An insider already exposed that. That's a conspiracy that you can talk about, Arthur. Since you want to talk about conspiracy videos, that is a conspiracy that you can discuss about McDonald's. Shit, you probably may do that now that I brought it up.
What else do you know about it?
Well, there was the insider in McDonald's who worked for McDonald's, and they mentioned that they took baby fetuses and they mixed it with horse meat.
He works in the factory, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was a manager, and he was ex-manager actually, and he revealed that they used to use baby fetuses and horse meat to create the patties. That's why the McDonald's burgers taste so good, and it doesn't taste like your average burger meat, because they actually use horse meat and baby fetus.
And McDonald's tried to debunk it, huh?
Well, McDonald's never addressed it. They never made a statement, and they're backed up by the FDA through money and power corporations, so they're not going to go out of business.
Yeah, something tells me
there's a whole conspiracy when it comes down to McDonald's and fast food restaurants and the FDA, mainly the FDA. We can get into that. That's a good conspiracy video that you should talk about.
Arthur. Yeah, Arthur, you should talk about that. I feel like I can really get into this topic too, if Arthur speak about it.
But he's not. He's gonna want to bitch and rant about some female who is just taking pictures, selfie pictures on themselves on Twitter, and call them sluts, whores, and bitches and hoes.
I
mean, come on. And he wonders why he gets so much dislikes. And then he blames, oh, you just don't want to hear the truth. Like when he came, no offense, Scorpion Death Drop, but when he came on your stream, I was like, what the hell is he doing here with the Susie Lou stream?
And if you watch his last live stream, how he like explaining why women has less rights than men. He basically trying to justify it too, saying that you women they should just stay home and cook and watch the kids while the men work. But Arthur's not working at all. Cash down fleet. Hello, ZTB. Oh, must be out. Okay. McDonald conspiracy. That's interesting. I might look into that later. That'll be a good conspiracy to watch. What happens behind the scene? Insider report.
Well, I'm going to cut this stream short, but it's been a pleasure. It's been a blast. And hopefully the next time we can talk about religion, because I figure we can go there with more in-depth subjects. And I figure this will be a time to actually hit home for other topics. So Dragon, thank you so much. Jack, Kevin, Cherry, Scorpion, and Hero. I think Hero joined to say hello. So
pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And yeah, I'm glad we can actually hit home with this topic. Like I said, if you guys have any further questions or concerns or answers that you want to say in the comment section, feel free to do so. Feel free to state your opinion, and feel free to give suggestions for other topics. So, on this note, this is Z2B fucking here.
All right, Dragon out.
And see you next time. And I hope you stay safe and don't let the virus get you. And just, be smart about things and be smart about life. All right. Take care, everyone. See you later.